Oops. Hang on a moment. Let me fix that. Bit less shiny there. Okay, this looks vaguely human. Greetings, my excellent friend. Hope you enjoyed the light show. Camera was slightly forgotten about. Anyway. Yes, we are using logic today. I mean, it's mostly just a joke on the fact that it's a full-on game mechanic named logic, and I just think that's very silly. Because of the way he describes it. He says, I'll have to use my logic. Like, yeah, duh. That's what thinking is, you know? Everybody does that. Anyway. There's our video game. I know it's a very simple thing. I'm just slightly mesmerized by my little DS 2-screen setup here because the cursor is visible. But the cursor gets really, really tiny if I move it over here because on my screen, the second screen is actually almost as big as the first one. But I don't think there's a better sizing to go with because you don't want to make the major action any smaller, and there really isn't much to do on the second screen. Turnabout Airlines. The murder that occurred in my office. The return of the great thief Yatagarasu. Thinking back, everything began on that fateful day 2 years ago. 2 days earlier. Sorry, didn't he just say 2 years? Anyway, Miles is dead. No, it's wine! Oh, he did say days. Well, 2 days ago. Well, that fateful day 2 days ago doesn't sound much. Yes, everything began high up in the air. 9,000 feet in the air, to be precise. Thank you for flying iFly Airlines. We are currently experiencing some slight turbulence. We are asking all passengers to please return to their seats and fasten their seatbelts. It's also doing that thing at the start of a case where it auto-advances, so I don't get enough time to read any of the lines. It's always the worst part when I'm streaming it as opposed to just hanging out. See there, now we can breathe. But like the worst part of these games as a streamer is the part where it decides to be cinematic and not give you the option to stop. You'd think it would, yes. Turbulence. I mean, he's on his ass. Snip, are you answering your own question? Magical Lawyer Superpower 1, Psychic Lie Detection. Magical Lawyer Superpower 2, Hypersensitive Tell Spotting. Magical Lawyer Superpower 3, Basic Yeah, that's it. That's the idea. Like, Phoenix gets the psychic stuff from the phase. we haven't played Apollo yet, and I haven't played Apollo in years, so I forget exactly how his shit works. But, like, even in Dual Destinies, like, Athena and gets her own thing as well. They all get weird extra bullshit, but Edgeworth here just has brain. Use it. I guess the second game also has logic chess, but I forget how that works. But even then, it's still logic. Yeah, it's a thing on his arm, that's it. I'll get there when I get there. Like, it'll probably be another big gap, because the Apollo Justice stuff is coming out very soon, which means it's going to be expensive for a while, and you know me and things that aren't cheap, I wait for them until they become cheap. My blood pressure is telling me that you're lying. If it works, it works. Okay. March 12th, 6:13 a.m. Flight I-390, first floor lounge. Why do I feel like I just woke up from a horrible nightmare? 6:13, huh? Guess I was out cold for about 10 minutes. Slight turbulence indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently experiencing some slight turbulence. For your safety, we ask that you return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts. I suppose turbulence is to be expected on a flight. What is this area? Why does this airplane have bar stools, a piano, and an elevator? Where's it going? But, like, by return to your seats, they probably don't mean that seat. Or the bar stools. I suppose turbulence is to be expected on a flight. Though admittedly, I'm less than comfortable with anything resembling earthquakes. What's this? A travel wallet? But it's not mine. How did someone else's travel wallet wind up in my pocket? Ugh, my head. Why won't this headache go away? I'll take care of this travel wallet later. Or hand it off to an attendant. From earthquake-like turbulence to an elevator. Right, yeah, no, he doesn't like those either. He's having a bad morning. What am I doing hesitating like this? Actually, I know full well why I hesitate. It was when I was still but a young child. Well, time for the trauma flashbacks. I was caught up in a murder that happened in an elevator. But how long am I going to let my past haunt me? It's just an elevator. I'm a grown man now. I need to behave like one. Ah! What the... Byakuya, what happened to you? What the world happened? Is there something wrong, sir? I must ask that you please return to your seat. He's dead! Please, calm down. We mustn't jump to conclusions without all the facts. Well, I mean, he doesn't look alive, does he? What's wrong? Did something happen? You murderer! What? No, you have it all wrong. It wasn't me. March 12, 6:41 a.m. Flight I-390, second floor, first class. Fuck me, what a... Have you had enough, sir? How is that man alive? Everyone, I am sorry to interrupt, but I have an important announcement. I am one of your flight attendants today, Rhoda Tiniero. Unfortunately, we have just had a minor accident on this flight. A minor accident? Uh-huh. We have my prosecutor's badge, which we can actually examine now. I didn't think we could do that before. This badge's design is said to reflect the relentlessness and discipline of law enforcement. It comes from the authority vested in us as strict prosecutors of the law and executors of sentences, much like harsh winter frosts and blazing summer days. To wear it is to identify oneself as a prosecutor, but I have no interest in doing so. You have no interest in identifying yourself as a prosecutor? That's awkward. And it has a back. Each prosecutor's badge is engraved with the number of its owner on the back. Numbers. As if we're not human on the inside like everyone else. I do believe that's it. Travel wallet, discovered in the lounge, picked up off the floor in front of the elevator. It isn't mine, so whose is it? Well, it might belong to the dead man, so carrying it around is maybe a bad idea. Also, it looks like it's got blood on it. I don't know, how clear that is on the smaller screen, but yeah, I think it has blood on it. Crime scene notes. Documents discovered inside the elevator. Body found at 6:15 a.m. inside the elevator stopped at the first floor lounge. And it's just the picture. Sky Magazine. Details meals, movies, and other services inside. Touch the check button for details. Flight itinerary. All times shown correspond to our departure time zone. Meals, drinks, movie. Question mark man. I'm going to call him Byakuya until we find out any further information about differentiating him. The victim, he was in first class, like myself, but don't know anything about him. And then Rhoda Tiniero, 24, an iFly Airlines flight attendant charged with taking care of first class. We have just had a minor incident on this flight. An accident? Don't treat us like we're stupid! I caught a glimpse and it was a murder! What? A murder? The Sky Always flight.
Everyone please calm down. There's no reason to panic. This flight will stay on course and make its scheduled landing. We are still currently in the middle of a rough patch of turbulence. So until we are out of this area of turbulence, I ask that you please remain seated.
But someone was killed, right? I mean, what about the killer? Let me off!
Please, there is no need to feel threatened. We have already apprehended the culprit.
Well, this sucks. I ask that everyone please remain calm. What the heck is he talking about? Why should we remain calm? My name is Miles Edgeworth. I am a prosecutor, and I assure you I am not the killer. Ha! Being the prosecutor doesn't make you incapable of murder, buddy. Haven't you ever heard about that karma, asshole? Believe me, I'm well aware. Now you listen here. I am not the killer. I simply found the body.
So you say. However, I am sure that you are the perpetrator of this crime. I swear on my honor as a professional flight attendant.
Oh, is that right?
I know what I saw. And there's even very strong incriminating evidence to back me up.
What kind of incriminating evidence is she talking about?
We've already alerted the proper authorities at our destination. Until we land, you will remain in our custody by the powers vested in our captain. I'm very sorry, but please understand our situation.
Your situation? I'm more concerned with mine and the direction it's going in. I'm not about to just sit idly by while I get accused of murder. Miss Teniro, is it?
Yes?
I was wondering if you might give me a chance.
A chance? To do what?
To plead my case. And a chance to ask what you meant by incriminating evidence just now. To accuse a passenger of such a grave crime without allowing him to give a proper defense. Can the professional flight attendant inside of you really call this action righteous?
You have a point. Very well. I'll listen to what you have to say. But be wary of what you reveal. I'm afraid you'll only look even more suspicious if your explanation fails to satisfy. I also do not have the time to deal with you all day, so please, make it quick.
Of course. As you wish.
Good. Very well then, let's get started.
I know for a fact that I didn't kill that man in the elevator. What I don't know is what sort of evidence she has up her sleeve. But I'm certain it doesn't fit with how the crime really occurred. Speaking straight into a confrontation. We haven't done anything yet. What Ms. Teniro saw.
I swear to tell the whole truth as a professional flight attendant. Unfortunately for you, Mr. Edgeworth, I am certain you are the killer. The scene I saw in front of the elevator. It was you, standing there with fresh blood dripping off of the murder weapon. So if you would please cooperate, we'll turn you over just as soon as we land.
That's it? That's her evidence?
I don't think you could ask for a more perfect witness testimony. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Edgeworth?
Not really. It's hardly perfect when there's a gaping hole in it. What Ms. Teniro saw.
Hold it!
Tell me, what exactly puts the pro in professional flight attendant for you?
Well, it means we are very professional about how we take care of our passengers. Services like fetching papers and responding to calls are done with speed and accuracy. I can assure you that I give testimonies with the same level of professionalism. But I'm sure you have already realized that by now, right?
It's a bit hard to appreciate your professionalism when I'm the one under suspicion.
And there you have it. My professional testimony is accurate and reliable. Unfortunately for you, Mr. Edgeworth, I am certain you are the killer.
Hold it!
You certainly seem sure of yourself.
Of course. A professional flight attendant can't afford to make mistakes, after all.
Perhaps. But you must admit there are few who can look at a murder with a clear mind.
We attendants all go through extensive training and are always calm and collected. We'll even calmly serve you coffee if you so wish, as the plane makes a splashdown.
I fail to see how that would be the calm and rational thing to do in an emergency.
Even until the bitter end, we are there to serve the passengers. That is the duty of all professional flight attendants.
You certainly are confident. Anyway, shall we return to your testimony?
The scene I saw in front of the elevator?
Hold it!
Yes. What did you see in front of the elevator?
That's what I was just about to tell you, Mr. Edgeworth. Framed by the elevator doors and bathed in the light coming from within. It was you, standing there, with fresh blood dripping off of the murder weapon.
Hold it!
The murder weapon dripping with blood? Really now?
I swear that was the grisly scene I saw before me. Thank goodness it wasn't a passenger who saw, or there'd be widespread panic by now.
As I recall, you were quite panicked yourself at the time. Eek? Murderer? He's dead? She seems like very calm and in control in every situation except for that one, yes. Sorry, 1 second.
Excuse me?
You were scared enough to misread the situation and accuse me of murder.
Nonsense. Professional flight attendants cannot afford to be that flustered. I witnessed the murder scene and am now listening to your defense, all with a smile.
Apparently you also lie with a smile on your face.
So, if you would please cooperate, we'll turn you over just as soon as we land.
Hold it!
I am not the culprit. And yet you would keep these restraints on me?
Mr. Edgeworth, please try to understand what kind of situation you're in right now.
And what exactly is my situation?
I have the backing of the captain to keep you bound in this way. We are within our legal right to restrain anyone who might threaten our captain mid-flight. In essence, you're in the same situation as someone who has been arrested by the police.
So I am to stay restrained until I can clear up all of her doubts. At least I'm close. Her mistake shines like the silver lining on a dark rain cloud. And I'm going to capture some of that light with evidence. You standing there with fresh blood dripping off of the murder weapon. So what's the murder weapon? The only thing we have with blood on it is the travel wallet, but I don't know how the fuck you could kill somebody with a travel wallet. You know?
Objection!
That's it? Miss Tenero.
What is with the yelling all of a sudden?
Ah, force of habit. Well, it doesn't matter. Miss Tenero. You say you saw the murder weapon dripping with blood. Is that correct?
Yes. All that blood. Drip, drip, drip. Just recalling that scene sends a chill down my spine.
Sorry, but your so-called professional flight attendant training has failed you.
What?
I'd like to direct your attention to this. Do you know what this is?
It's a travel wallet, right? But it looks a little big and bulky.
The thing you saw me holding when I discovered the dead body in the elevator was this very travel wallet, Ms. Tenier.
What? Impossible!
Now then, do you still think I am the killer? That I killed him with a travel wallet?
But no, but I saw blood dripping from the wallet. I know I did.
As you can see, this wallet is clearly stained. But if you would be so kind as to take a whiff, I think you'd agree it's only grape juice. Right, yeah, the bottle.
Then...
That's right. You mistook grape juice for blood. The murder weapon dripping with blood does not, in fact, exist.
No!
There, that should clear up that pesky accusation.
Hold it! Wait just a sec. See, I can do lawyer yells too. That is... I mean, even a wallet could be deadly if it was wrapped around something heavy. I demand that you show me what's inside. Please?
She's trembling, and the tacked on please at the end. Sounds like I've got her. There's no need to look inside. Even you can tell from its appearance that it's light. How is he managing to show her all this stuff with his hands behind his back? Like, he must have the wallet in his corner of his mouth.
No, I can't be sure of anything until I see the contents of that wallet for myself.
She's a persistent one. I suppose we have no choice but to see what's inside. Mr. Nero, if you'll be so kind as to open the wallet and check its contents for me. That's how it would sound if he was actually delivering it to her. But anyway, Mr. Nero, if you would be so kind as to open the wallet and check its contents for me.
All right. I usually don't pry into passengers' belongings, but we have no choice here.
Grape juice stains the back cover, the outer cover. True, it was I who dropped it in the juice, however, I didn't do it out of ill intentions. It seems that this passport is all that's in here. As you saw, there is nothing but a passport inside. This renders your wallet was the murder weapon argument moot. Wouldn't you agree?
Hold it! Please hear me out, Mr. Edgeworth.
What is it now?
Well, I was wondering, whose passport is it exactly? Can I take a look?
Why not? I'm rather curious myself. This is...
Just as I thought.
Republic of Borginia passport. Type P. Surname Hicks. Given names Ackby. Nationality Republic of Borginia. Sex signature M. No, sex M, signature. Okay, yeah. No.
Just as I thought. This travel wallet belonged to Mr. Ackby Hicks, which makes it the victim's property.
Mr. Hicks' travel wallet.
You stole the victim's wallet, didn't you?
How dare you!
You said it yourself. You claimed to be holding this wallet in your hands when I found you. Perhaps I did misconstrue the wallet for the murder weapon, but it seems that I wasn't wrong about who the culprit is.
Ms. Tenero's logic.
As you claimed, the murder weapon is not the travel wallet. However, it is something you stole from Mr. Hicks after you were done with the vile deed. I find it hard to believe myself, but your motive was very simple. You were out to steal Mr. Hicks's money, weren't you?
So even though I didn't have the murder weapon on me, you still suspect me, I see.
You stood up at the crime scene with the victim's wallet in your hands. How can I turn a blind eye and not suspect you of foul play? As you claimed, the murder weapon is not the travel wallet.
Hold it!
But what if it was?
Well, then you'd be the murderer.
Ah, very well. Shouldn't that be proof enough for you that I did not murder the victim?
Not at all.
Oh, and why not?
Because that wallet may not have been what I thought it was. However, it is something that you stole from Mr. Hicks after you were done with the vile deed.
Hold it!
You think I stole it?
Yes. I'm very sorry to say it, and I wouldn't usually be so rude, but it must be said.
What?
I never thought I'd see the day, but here I am calling a passenger a thief. Maybe I should put on a serious face and say it more directly. I believe you removed the wallet from the victim's personage.
It really doesn't matter how you phrase it. What I'd like to know is why you think I stole Mr. Hicks's wallet.
I find it hard to believe myself, but your motive was very simple.
Hold it!
I don't think I have any sort of motive to speak of. I've never met Mr. Hicks before, and our only connection is this one flight.
But that is more than enough of a reason.
How do you figure?
He was sitting in first class, and I think the implication is quite clear.
So was I!
You were out to steal Mr. Hicks's money, weren't you?
Hold it!
You think I was after his money? Where did that cockamamie idea come from?
True, you are also a passenger in first class, but I thought something was off about you and those deeply etched lines on your face.
Go ahead. They're not lines. They're perfectly normal and a part of my natural face.
I don't think I've ever met someone with such terrible countenance on a flight before. And that's when it hit me. You have the face of someone with money trouble.
She really is making a fool of herself pursuing this line of logic. I should spare her and present the piece of evidence that contradicts her testimony.
As you claimed, the murder weapon is not the travel wallet.
We need to prove that we have money, I guess? I don't know that the prosecutor's badge necessarily is proof of richness, but it's a step there. We could present the wallet itself to be like, hey, there was no money in there. I don't know that this helps. Does this? Yes, because there's money all over the floor. Why is there money all over the floor? There's like, there's a statue? There's like an ID card, money, a necklace. This is the only downside to making the bottom screen small, because there's a few cases where the thing you're staring at is going to be on the smaller screen. Not too many, though. Yeah, present this, because we clearly weren't out for the money if the money was left next to the dead man.
Objection!
I wonder if I might get a word in, Ms. Tenero.
What is it now?
Miss Tenero, I wonder if you noticed the contradiction within your own testimony.
What are you talking about?
It's simply impossible that the motive for this murder was monetary theft. One glance at the crime scene should have told you that. What about this scene would prove that the motive for murder was not the money? That would be the money.
Take that!
If I may direct your attention to the things strewn all over the floor.
Ah!
That's right. The floor is covered in bills and coinage. By your rationale, these were the very things the killer was after. What could be done is setting up a second window that reverses the screens, but it would take time to set that up, is the problem. And probably couldn't be done while I was live. If I had it though, I'd just be able to like swap scenes and then they'd just go bloop and then swap back. That might be the best way. I think we can assume that the wallet fell during the victim's struggle with his killer. And I would think that the killer would have noticed something like money scattering everywhere. Furthermore, as you can see, there was no effort made by the killer to gather the money.
But the wallet.
Ah, yes, the wallet. You will also recall that the only thing in it was Mr. Hicks's passport. If you are really insisting that it was a crime based on greed, then you're claiming that it was all for an empty travel wallet.
Forgive me! Please!
Hey, what the heck? Are you saying the attendant's wrong? So that guy isn't the killer?
Don't believe it, everyone. It's a trick.
Will you all please shut the fuck up? Sorry. Would you all please be quiet? Ms. Tenero.
Yes.
You lost your cool when you saw the dead body. Plus the lounge was dark, and looking into the light from the elevator, it's easy to see how you mistook the wallet in my hand for the murder weapon. I take no offense that you thought I was the killer.
Mr. Hedgeworth.
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro.
Thank you for releasing me, Ms. Tenero. What? What is it now? Mr. Nero, if you could please translate, I'd be much obliged.
It sounds like Borginian, but I don't understand any of it. There's another attendant on this flight who...
I said that he is giving the runabout! I don't require an interpreter. I speak English just well. See? You, the attendant.
Yes, sir?
I want this person to be under the arrest until we arrive at the airport.
I'm sorry, sir, but what exactly are you hoping for?
What is it you want? I am finished talking to the likes of you.
Please, I would like to hear why you would like me to be held under arrest until we land.
You! How dare you try to waste my time?
You were the one who stuck your nose into my affairs.
I wanted to spend even at least one more second with my precious art. I have no time for other things. I know what you are. I see through you. Insolvent. Yes, I am pretty sure that's how you say it in English.
Well, I'd hope that I don't dissolve in water, but I don't think that's what you meant. I'm sorry, but I don't think I've caught your name.
I am Zinc LeBlanc the Second. I am a very wealthy man in Virginia. But I am not an ordinary rich man. I am an art dealer, a rich seller of beauty.
Mr. LeBlanc, what did you mean just now?
Pardon?
When you said that Mr. Edgeworth was giving me the runabout.
I have to explain? Unbelievable. I will say it once, and only once. I do not have even a second to waste. Time is money, as they say.
Yes, and yet you continue to blather on.
I saw it, yes, I did. I saw the victim go onto the elevator, going down to the lounge. It was exactly at 6 o'clock.
And what's the significance of that time?
At 6, he says. Wait, you saw him at 6?
What's the matter, Mr. Edgeworth?
He understands, I see. Miss Attendant, what time did you discover the body?
Well, it was a little after that patch of turbulence, so I would say around 6:15. Oh!
Hicks was his name, eh? Then I say that man Hicks was killed in a 15-minute time span. And the only person in the lounge at the time was this prosecutor, yes?
From the Northern European Republic of Virginia, says he's a wealthy art dealer, time-obsessed. He also... he's got problems with his hands. He seems to just be shooting guns out of them the entire time. Like invisible ones, but still. He may also have a blood pressure issue. Yes, his head's, well, it's colorful in the pixel art, but not in the actual sprite body. Like, his head does not turn red in close-up.
Yeah, I was in my seat the whole time.
Me too. I was watching a movie and enjoying fine glass grape juice. And beer. Whiskey. Cider. And vodka. And the options. I was still eating. Still haven't finished, see?
The other passengers have alibis, so you have no problem with them, I suppose. No compliant, I see. Not a single word against this, right?
I have no way of discounting what you have just put forth at this point, but it wasn't me.
No, so you say. But you have, what you say? The evidence?
Mr. Edgeworth, are you really the culprit after all?
Mr. LeBlanc, I suppose you are quite certain in what you saw? Enough to give testimony?
Of course! I was looking at that man the whole time. He was playing with that annoying little, small machine the whole time.
Machine?
Yes, that's what you people call it in English, yes? It was making me crazy with the click, click, click.
From that description, it sounds like some sort of small computer.
I believe what Mr. LeBlanc is talking about is a cell phone. I have to say that I did see him playing with it quite a bit myself.
A simple cell phone? A laptop or organizer I can see, but that's kind of low budget. Maybe in 2009. So that's funny, because this is set in 2019, but written in 2009, so Edgeworth doesn't know what a smartphone is.
I hate that noisy little machine in his head. Not a fragment of beauty. All it produces is ugly sounds. Anyway, I know what I saw.
Ms. Tenero,
Yes?
I was wondering if I might be granted permission to examine the crime scene.
What? You want to examine the crime scene?
If you would grant me a little measure of time, I'm sure I can produce the real culprit.
I don't like the sound of that. Fox in the duck pen. Yes, I think that is how you say it in English.
It's Fox guarding the hen house, and I believe my innocence was proven earlier. And if I'm given the chance, I can clear up all the remaining doubts. Mr. Nero, if you wait until we arrive, there is a good chance that some evidence will have been destroyed by then. That's not great. That said, give me a second.
I understand. Let me see what the captain has to say.
Ha! This should not be approved.
Please, Mr. LeBlanc. In an emergency, all decisions are to be made by the captain alone. Now, please wait here while I go ask the captain what to do. You polish your gold statue or whatever. I'll be right back.
You are not planning to erase evidence when you're doing investigation, yes?
Of course not.
Ah, we will see.
Mr. Edgeworth, you have the captain's permission to investigate the crime scene.
What? Unbelievable!
I am in your debt, Miss Tenero.
However, there is one condition. I am to supervise you. Can you agree to that?
Of course, I am missing my pet gumshoe, after all. I see no problem with that stipulation. It's only natural, as I am still a suspect in this case.
I take full responsibility and will watch Mr. Edgeworth's every move. I hope this is reassurance enough that there will be no foul play. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, shall we proceed? If you should need my help with anything, please feel free to touch the partner button.
It's time to head to the scene of the crime, the first floor lounge. And indeed, we have a partner.
Are you in need of assistance?
Miss Tenero, I'd like to ask you about investigating the lounge.
As long as you have the captain's permission, I can't stop you from looking around.
If you could pass a message along, tell him I'm grateful for his spirit of cooperation.
I will. However, please realize that you are still under suspicion. To be honest, I still have my doubts about you.
Of course, and I take no offense.
Do you really understand what I'm saying?
Yes, verily.
Do you pinky swear you do on your honor as a professional prosecutor?
I pinky swear I do on my honor as a professional prosecutor.
Well, I guess that settles that.
I feel my honor as a man slowly diminishing.
Even if you show that to me, I still cannot allow you free rein. I'm sorry, but I must admit that I still have my doubts about you.
Guilty until proven innocent, I see. If we didn't for a fact know that Gumshoe was cleaning his office at the time. This was Mr. Hicks's seat. I don't see the machine Mr. LeBlanc was talking about.
Perhaps it's in the elevator.
Maybe. We should probably head down to the crime scene now. It's a movie poster for License to Love, Laugh, Maim, and Murder.
That's an iFly Airlines sponsored movie. It's a suspense, hard-boiled action romantic horror comedy movie.
Is that the genre listing for this movie?
Yes, it's a movie that can be enjoyed by anyone because it encompasses all those genres.
I can't even begin to imagine what the plot of this movie would be like.
But you have to admit it has piqued your curiosity, right? I heard the main strategy with this genre listing was to make people curious.
Well then, consider the mission a successful one.
How did you...
I don't know where it cut off, but
How did you find your meal today, Mr. Edgeworth?
come to think of it, I forgot all about it. I must have been asleep or something.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Let me prepare you something right away.
What are you apologizing for, Miss De Niro?
I've failed in my professional duties by letting a passenger go hungry. Please help yourself. If you see anything to your fancy, feel free.
I think I'll take my time later, after I've solved this murder case, thank you. Yep, nothing special.
That leads to the emergency escape hatch. You can't go there in mid-flight.
What's the probability that the criminal escaped through here?
100%.
What?
Oh, let me finish my thought. I'm 100% certain they didn't.
When I'm searching for an answer, only complete thoughts need apply. Excuse me, but may I have a word with you? You there!
If you need something, please ask Miss Rhoda over there, okay?
What the? Hey, wake up, you!
I'm terribly sorry that she's being so rude, Mr. Edgeworth.
No need for you to apologize. I just find it hard to believe she's asleep on the job. If I were her boss, I'd see to it that her salary was cut so low that it was in the red.
In order to preserve the crime scene, I'm afraid the elevator is not in service. To get to the first floor lounge, we should take the stairs.
Makes sense. Oh no, we read that. Mr. LeBlanc seems to be protecting the gargantuan vase on that chair rather closely.
It's a marvelous vase, though, isn't it? Yes, I dare say so as a professional attendant.
I don't think there's any real connection between a piece of art and being an attendant.
But I'm not just any old attendant. I'm a professional flight attendant.
As though there was such a thing as an amateur flight attendant.
Hurry up and investigate. Time should not be wasted. Precious is human time, is how you say it, I believe.
It's my seat. Unfortunately, I didn't bring anything particularly useful for an investigation. It's not as if I'm constantly prepared for such a thing to occur.
Don't get near me, you criminal.
He said, "Don't get near me, you criminal."
I am not the killer, and I intend to prove that starting now.
But that's contrary to the facts.
He says, "But that's contrary to the facts."
I can understand his English just fine, thank you very much. What's a lifesaver doing here?
I bought it at the in-flight shop, just beyond the lounge. If something should happen, having one would save your life.
I think this guy would have been better off not taking a plane to begin with. If I may have a word with you, this steak, so awesome. That's great to hear. However, I would like to ask you a few questions. I was here the whole time, so wouldn't know. Eat or speak. Please pick one.
I think he chose eat.
Yes, I can hear that. Hey, miss. How about another glass? Excuse me, but I was wondering if you know anything about the murder. How about it? How about a glass together? I'm sorry, but I must decline. I was talking to you. I was asking the cute attendant.
I am sorry, but I'm on the clock right now. But if you need a refill, I'd be happy to bring you another glass at any time. Perhaps with some sedatives?
You got it? That's no way to talk to a lady. Look at all these bottles lined up in a row. It's a miracle they made it through the turbulence without a scratch.
Actually, we asked the drink vendor to clean up all the ones that did break earlier.
Then you mean to tell me he put all these up here after the turbulence?
We are simply thrilled to have someone so interested in the variety of drinks available.
I don't think anyone should drink this much. There is such a thing as overhydration. Is that censored for the localization? Because you mentioned grape juice earlier. I have just spent a month or so of my life watching Dragon Ball with the English dub and the Japanese subtitles laid. So I got to see all the moments in which they fucking covered up a reference to alcohol or something vaguely sexual. Ain't no way this isn't just a flat-out booze joke in the Japanese. And no, it's grape juice in Japan. Why? March 12, 7:26 a.m. Flight I-390, first floor lounge. I want to thank you for your help back there, Miss Tenira.
It was nothing. You should thank the captain for granting you permission. And just so everything is perfectly clear, I still don't trust you to that extent. I don't want you to think your standing with me has changed.
I see. I will bear that in mind.
I received an order from the captain earlier. He wanted you to know that we reserve the right to stop your investigation if we feel you are not making progress. And when we do, he asks that you please return to your seat at this time.
So my time runs out at his and the crew's discretion, does it? I have to find a way to discredit Mr. LeBlanc's testimony before time is up. I understand. By the way, is there any place you can think of where the killer might hide on board?
I don't think so. After every first-class passenger was accounted for at his or her seat, we made a thorough search of the plane. As for business and economy class, no one can move between those two classes in first class without a staff keycard. And we found no record of a keycard being used at all.
Which means that I have a first-class killer on my hands. At least I know that much for sure. And one other thing. No one else has been allowed near this crime scene since the murder was discovered, either. First floor lounge. Now then, let's get started.
But where should we start from?
Let's start with Mr. LeBlanc's statements. The crime occurred between 6 and 6:15 a.m. During that interval, the only person in the lounge was myself, which would make me the prime suspect. However, since I did not kill Mr. Hicks, it means that the killer was around somewhere. Where was the killer?
If we are to believe what you say is true, then yes.
The first order of business will be to gather information to win your trust. They're up. Well, we're on a plane. So that's odd.
This door leads to the flight attendant's room. But please understand that it's off limits to unauthorized personnel.
The room is giving off the scent of women's perfume. One would think that perfume would smell great. However, to me, it simply smells. Cologne, however, now... Ugh. Not that I have any interest in what lies behind this door. Yeah, we know.
Perhaps we should return to the investigation, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth?
Sorry, I spaced out for a second there. These bottles and glasses must have been broken by the turbulence. There's quite a bit of broken glass here. Please be careful when passing through the area.
Thank you very much for the warning, Mr. Edgeworth. However, no matter how kind you are towards me, know that it does not clear up any suspicions I have about you.
I wasn't warning you for the sake of clearing my name. These counter windows offer a glimpse of the sky, but these clouds, they tell me nothing.
Mr. Edgeworth, you look like you're talking to the clouds.
Is that so? Then tell me, what do you suppose I said to them?
I don't know, but it looked like a rather one-sided conversation.
Clouds. They tell me nothing. There are a few copies of Sky Magazine in the magazine rack.
This month's special is an English trivia quiz.
That's not a bad idea. I've heard that the youth of today don't know a particle from a participle.
Now, please don't go around confusing people with made-up words, Mr. Edgeworth. Who's ever heard of such a silly word as participle?
Case in point. What or who is this? He looks like an ood. An ood in a suit.
This is a bronze statue of the founder of iFly Airlines, Mr. Hugo iFly.
Or Mr. Hugo Ifley.
The one on the left is of when he was in his 40s, and the other is of him in his 80s.
Did the man actually age in the span of 4 decades? Maybe I need to squint more. Is something here? No. Let's try to maybe get that bucket, but it doesn't look like you can.
This grand piano is the pride of this plane. It can play the music of whatever CD we insert into the CD drive.
That's not a piano, it's more like an overgrown music box.
Ah, but its keys depress along with the music as though there really is someone playing it.
Some people have entirely too much money to waste on overly complex toys. Okay, that would be impressive if you could also play it. Like, does it function as a piano? Yes. If it functions as a piano and also plays itself, brilliant. Great. It's a ghost piano. Wonderful. But it's also a functional tool for someone who wants to play the piano. If it only does the gimmick and doesn't do the actual function, then it's a piece of shit. This toppled over chair. And yet another victim of the turbulence.
Ah! No! Look at all that grape juice staining the back! It may not look it, but this chair was extremely valuable.
It was?
Yes! It was used when the Rocker Pals came to tour this plane. The Rocker Pals leader sat in this very chair.
I'm sorry, but what are these Rocker Pals?
I can't believe you've never heard of them. They're all the rage. The Rocker Pals are an extremely popular international band. They added the pals part as they became more popular, especially among teens.
Ah, that explains it. I'm not really one for the music of today. Maybe I should ask Detective Gumshoe about them later. On second thought, I can already see how confusing that conversation would get. Glasses and candles thrown into disarray by the turbulence.
It's been a while since I've seen this big of a mess. It's terribly embarrassing, but I thought it was an earthquake for a second. And I frantically started searching for gas valves to shut off.
I guess the shaking of the plane was bad enough to be mistaken for a real earthquake. Not that I would know, since I was unconscious for most of it.
The in-flight shop is just beyond these shutters, but we don't have permission to open them, so I'm afraid I must leave them closed.
There must still be clues to be found here in this lounge. I must remain ever vigilant. A pity that a bronze statue knows not when good drink has been spilt at its feet.
This is a statue of our founder, Mr. Hugo iFly, who was a big fan of grape juice. I'm sure he would be thrilled if he knew so much grape juice was here at his feet.
Is that a hint of hero worshipping I detect? There's some spilled grape juice in front of the elevator. I assume it was spilled during the turbulence.
Oh, we must clean that up, or someone might get hurt.
Aha!
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
I found some very important evidence. What is the important piece of evidence in this scene? Well, let's see. We have broken bottle, a glass that isn't broken but is fallen down. Then there's some super obvious footmarks walking through the stains.
Take that!
What is it?
They're a little smudged, but I think we can both agree that they are a set of footprints.
So you think...
Yes, these belong to our killer.
Oh, then maybe we should check the shoe sizes of everyone in first class.
I don't think that will be of any help to us. Unfortunately, the prints are too smudged, which will make it hard to get a definite match.
Oh, I see.
I think that's everything except for the body now. I think. Or the body area. What floors does this elevator service?
Only the first and second, although it can also go down to the cargo hold. However, that requires a flight crew keycard.
So the only floors accessible to the passengers are the first and second, huh? I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. I wonder what was hanging off of this lanyard. Something's missing from this picture. Now, if I could just put my finger on it. I doubt anyone was expecting to find a dead body in an elevator on this flight.
So, Mr. Hicks, he's really dead.
Yes. She's trembling, although I can't fault her for that, but there's a corpse right there.
Mr. Hicks, if you're really dead, then please answer yes.
I see she's over the trembling now, although a new symptom seems to have appeared. Anyway, I should focus on the victim's body. Let's see. There's blood on the back of Mr. Hicks's head. Could this be the cause of death? He appears to have been struck very hard, perhaps by a smooth criminal. Even his glasses are broken. Acme, are you okay? Acme, are you okay? Are you okay, Acme? No, he's not. Hand, maybe? How about his shoes? There's no grape juice residue on the soles of his shoes, making it highly unlikely that Mr. Hicks entered this elevator after the turbulence. Now, what's in his pocket? There's something sticking out of his pocket. Hope you won't mind if I take a look at what's inside. It's a picture. It looks like it was taken inside a building somewhere. Photo of Mr. Hicks. Good for him, he's only got the second ugliest face in the photo. You can also see what's supposed to be on that lanyard and isn't. Money is strewn all over the floor of the elevator. I would guess it was all in Mr. Hicks's wallet at some point. There's an ID card and a statue-looking thing. Can't really examine the card, but we can examine the statue. What is this sinister-looking figurine on the floor here?
Oh, that's a piggy bank of our company mascot, Mr. iFly. It's just one of the many pieces of merchandise we sell at our in-flight shop. This bank is a limited edition, and it's so popular that we're down to our last one.
You have an in-flight shop?
Yes, we talked about it. There were bars guarding the way.
Oh, right.
It's just beyond the lounge to the right. The shutter to the store is closed at the moment. But it was open the whole flight up until Mr. Hicks's body was discovered.
There's blood on here. Could this have been the murder weapon? It's entirely possible. Have we run out of shit? I believe we may have run out of shit. Notice anything? Did you notice anything?
I was wondering whose footprints those are next to the elevator.
I'd say the killers, wouldn't you say? Even if they aren't, I'm sure they are a vital clue to solving this case.
Maybe there are other clues waiting to be found in other places. Come on now, Mr. Edgeworth, let's go find them together.
A word of advice, nobody likes a credit thief, so stop stealing my lines. I was wondering if you noticed anything, Mr. Nero.
Yes, I can't help but notice the sad atmosphere in here.
Yes, it is a rather tragic crime.
I'll say. Robbing the poor man after bludgeoning him to death. Talk about rubbing in the salt.
I believe I mentioned this earlier, but no money was stolen from Mr. Hicks.
Oh, yes, you did. Sorry for the accusation. But I still insist that there is something off or missing from when he was at his seat.
Oh? Something is missing?
I can't forgive someone who would do this to a passenger of mine. I swear as a professional flight attendant that I will capture the culprit with my own hands.
And I promise as a prosecutor to solve this case with logic and deduction. I should go over all the leads I've collected so far one more time. The key to solving this lies at the intersection of my logic and evidence. Right. We do have the deduce option over here. The only thing I can think of is perhaps we're deducing that the lanyards is missing something. And we do have a piece of evidence that proves that. So.
Eureka!
Eureka! Mr. Hicks's machine is nowhere to be found.
His machine?
His cell phone, Mr. Nero.
Ah, so I guess because it's not here.
Yes, I think we can safely deduce that the killer took it. Missing cell phone. So he had the cell phone attached to his neck? What the fuck? You imagine walking around with a smartphone dangling from your neck? Wouldn't that just be annoying? Anyway, we have our logic menu now. Lots of things. Where was the killer? The victim's body was found inside the elevator that connects the first and second floors. There is some spilled grape juice on the floor in front of the elevator with footprints. The victim's glasses were broken. Were they broken during the murder? This blood on it is still fresh. Could this be the murder weapon? Wound on the back of Hicks's head suggests blunt force trauma, but what caused it? Well, that's obvious. We connect this with this. Blunt force trauma with murder weapon, Mr. Eyefly. A statue with blood on it lying next to the body of a man who was beaten to death.
Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, I think I figured something out.
Yes, what is it?
The way the blood is on this. It looks like it matches up with the wound on his head.
Well, aren't we deserving of the Master of the Obvious title?
Well, what do you think, Mr. Edgeworth? Don't you think that's worth investigating?
It would appear that this figurine is our murder weapon.
Oh, I just knew it. I mean, I can't think of any other connection.
Perhaps Master of the Oblivious would be more befitting. Perhaps Master of the Oblivious would be more fitting. Mr. Eyefly piggy bank data jotted down in my organizer. Now, what else? What clues point to where the killer could have been? The footsteps kind of point to where he's going. I think that's the best out of these three, right? Not exactly a shining example of the perfect line of logic. Oh! Shit. Okay. Well, it's not going to be the broken glasses. Would have thought the footprints would tie into where the killer is. But not necessarily. It did say, or rather you could say that the killer was in the elevator because the victim was, but I don't know, it just seems strange. Let's try it. I can afford to take a lot of hits, really. Ah. True, there wasn't anyone else in the lounge other than myself right before the turbulence. But if the killer was in the elevator along with the victim, then that's a different story. I could prove the killer rode the elevator with Hicks. Do these two now work together? Because it proves that the killer left the elevator and walked through the grape juice. That could be it. That could be the path they wanted to take. Please. I have it!
I'm sorry, but I don't understand, Mr. Edgeworth.
I can prove that someone other than myself was here around the time of the murder.
What? Really?
Yes, it's rather simple, actually. The proof is in the pudding. Or rather, the grape juice, in this case. These footsteps here confess to me this very fact. That someone exited the elevator alive. Seeing as how the victim is dead, that would mean a second person.
But couldn't the footprints be from Mr. Hicks himself?
Ah, but if you take a look at our victim's shoes, you can see the soles are spotless.
Which means?
Mr. Hicks wasn't alone in the elevator. In fact, it's quite the opposite. There was actually one other person inside the elevator. Right. Now we have grape juice footprints instead of logic. We have it in the organizer. Investigation complete, and we heal up. What's going on over there? It says I Fly Airlines. You know, I've seen it occur a lot recently, and it's been bothering me greatly. But why does nobody know how to properly capitalize and space nouns anymore? I suppose this is where you insert your coins. I have to say, for a piggy bank, it's made rather well. So well, in fact, that I'm not sure there was a way to take your money out. There is some blood on one of the corners. Could this piggy bank be the murder weapon? No, he killed him with something else and then just dipped the fucking bank in blood. And we have our grape juice footprints spilt during the turbulence. Looks like footprints and something being dragged. You're right, yeah, there's little drag marks. There. What's going on over there?
Unforgivable! This is unforgivable! Do you understand what I am saying? The movie is late! It is the same level of bad as if the plane had arrived late!
But the movie...
What? I will not talk to you anymore. You are just wasting my time!
What is the matter, Mr. LeBlanc? If there is no emergency, please return to your seat, sir.
Do not tell me what to do. I need not to sit down! Well, Mr. Prosecutor, did you prove you are innocent yet?
If you would like, I will prove my innocence to you right now.
What? Nonsense! Are you saying my eyewitness testimony is mistaken?
Not mistaken, merely that there is room for doubt. I'd be most honored if you could please tell me what you saw in detail once more.
Fine, suit yourself.
What I saw.
I am certain I saw Mr. Hicks enter that elevator. It was when the needles on my pocket watch pointed to the 6 and the 12. The body was discovered 15 minutes after that in the lounge, yes? Then you, the only person in the lounge at that time, must be the criminal.
Mr. LeBlanc's conclusions seem to make logical sense. After all, the only person in the lounge at the supposed time of the murder was me.
So, my eyewitness testimony. If you think you can destroy it, then come, let me see. Hurry! Do I look like a man who is having the time to wait for you?
Why is he so irritated? I'm the one accused of murder here. Anyway, I must find a way to discredit Mr. LeBlanc's account somehow, and fast. Oh, what I saw.
I am certain I saw Mr. Hicks enter that elevator.
Hold it!
Mr. LeBlanc, were you able to get a good look at the inside of the elevator at that time?
Of course I saw what was inside.
And you are sure that the victim was in the elevator alone?
Yes! The only person inside was that Mr. Hicks man.
This last outburst is a bit too important to let go.
The only person inside was that Mr. Hicks man.
Hold it!
Was he really alone?
Of course, I will bet even 1 cent.
A cheap ante for a cheap testimony. But if that's how you want to play it, I'll happily take your 1 cent.
It was when the needles on my pocket watch pointed to the 6 and the 12.
Hold it!
I assume the pocket watch in this case is the one you keep checking, is that correct?
Oh, you noticed? It is very expensive antique, I will have you know. The feeling is wonderful when I fully wind it up by hand.
It does look very well designed and quite classy.
And I will have to charge you if you want to touch it.
That's quite all right. Let's continue with your testimony.
Ah, what a cheap man you are. Now return the time you wasted back to me. And if we must, I saw Mr. Hicks enter the elevator at 6 o'clock. The body was discovered 15 minutes after that in the lounge, yes?
Hold it!
It's true that I found the victim's body at 6:15.
And that's when I found the two of them as well.
You see? It all matches my testimony. Then you, the only person in the lounge at that time, must be the criminal.
Hold it!
That is the most mistaken way of thinking I've ever heard of.
Hold it! No. Your silly opinion is what is mistaken.
Please calm down, the both of you. In a sense, you are both mistaken.
Well, if that isn't the pot calling the kettle black, then I don't know what is. I spy a little hole in his words. As you wish, Mr. LeBlanc, I will now show you the proof of my innocence. The only person inside was Mr. Hicks. What do we have that proves there was another one? These, I think. It's the closest we have, at least.
Objection!
Mr. LeBlanc.
What is it?
There is a very glaring contradiction in your testimony.
What do you mean?
Please, take a look at the area in front of the elevator. There, at the spilled grape juice.
Yes, and?
Excellent improv etiquette, but not the point.
Will you admit you also spilled it with the blood?
No, it spilled itself during the turbulence. But the interesting thing here is the set of grape juice footprints.
Footprints?
Yes, the ones that lead from within the elevator out into the lounge itself. It's evidence that proves that someone other than Mr. Hicks exited the elevator alive.
Ugh!
There must have been another person in the elevator with Mr. Hicks. Now then, I'm done playing games. Why don't you tell us the truth?
Can you please translate for us?
Anyway, that outfit does not match regulation. Yeah, you're not supposed to bring a stuffed teddy bear with a hat. How dare you?
No way. That's totally impossible. I guess is what he said.
No way! That is totally fucking possible!
Close enough.
I know there was no other person in there. I saw with my own eyes.
If you want to know what I think, Mr. Edgeworth, I don't think Mr. LeBlanc is lying to us.
I suppose she's right. He doesn't seem to be lying. But then what does it mean? What about this contradiction? Mr. LeBlanc, please, just once more, will you recall the details of what you witnessed for me? What I saw, part 2.
I was very upset when Mr. Hicks passed by my seat. I was always checking the time over and over again. I happened to follow that man with my eyes when he passed me. And I saw clearly into the elevator he was entering. But I swear, there was no one else inside. No one!
Mr. LeBlanc, if you would please calm down.
What? Dare you too have an issue with my eyewitness testimony?
No, not at all. But please forget I said anything.
Yet again, he doesn't appear to be lying. But I can't let this testimony stand as the truth.
I was very upset when Mr. Hicks passed by my seat.
Hold it!
So are you still upset now?
I am always upset! The only time I am not is when I have a piece of art in my hands!
It's surprisingly easy to believe that about him. Have you considered a therapist?
What's that, some kind of sculpture?
No.
Is it pretty?
Depends on the therapist.
Well then, if it is not pretty, then it is not worth my time. But I was even more upset when Mr. Hicks walked by me. I was always checking the time over and over again.
Hold it!
Why were you so attentive to the time?
Because something unforgivable was happening.
Come to think of it, you were yelling about something unforgivable earlier.
I was giving a complaint to the attendant about the movie starting time. Return back to me my time! In money! You understand the point.
Movie? Is he talking about the in-flight movie that's mentioned in the magazine? A summary of the plot and the start time. Interesting.
They were supposed to show License to Love, Laugh, Maim, and Murder. I cannot see that movie in my country. We have terrible censorship over in Virginia. You can only see it on international flights.
Have you heard of the internet?
Shut up! I looked forward greatly to that movie. I checked my pocket watch whenever possible so I would not miss it.
Seriously, you can just don't...
I am 62! I don't even know how to turn the computer on!
That does check out.
I even set my pocket watch to the destination time when I came on board. So, my watch is not wrong. It matched the schedule. But the movie was still late! Very, very late.
Hold it!
Your pocket watch. I'd like to ask you a little more about it, if that's all right.
The movie I wanted to see would not start, so I checked my pocket watch many times.
Hold it!
So this movie you mentioned, is it the one listed in the Sky magazine?
Yes! I was so looking forward to watching License to Love, Laugh, Maim and Murder.
Mr. Nero, was this movie shown on the flight?
Yes, it was shown at the scheduled time.
Isn't it possible you simply slept through it by accident?
Nonsense! You doubt me? I shoot you with my finger.
Now stop looking at me like that! Odd. How did he miss a movie that he was clearly hoping to see?
I checked my pocket watch a great number of times. That much I know for sure. My watch is set to my destination's time. I always set it when I board the plane.
Hold it!
You're sure about what you just testified, Mr. LeBlanc?
Yes, of course. I am a very busy man. I am immediately busy when I land. I have many places to go, and no time to waste adjusting my pocket watch.
I see. That was a very valuable statement you just made.
Flatter me all you want. You will not get 1 cent out of me.
That's all right. All I require is this piece of testimony.
I happened to follow that man with my eyes when he passed me.
Hold it!
Since you only happened to see him, it's possible that you missed something in that glance.
Hold it! Even if I only happened, I did not miss a thing.
And how can you be so sure?
Just because. Because fuck you.
I would appreciate it if you didn't take my life so lightly with a simple just because fuck you.
Well, then I was only making a joke. I saw Mr. Hicks, all right? And I saw clearly into the elevator he was entering.
Hold it!
Is it possible that someone was hiding inside?
What? You dare insult me? I have belief in my eyesight. When I look for art to sell, I am told often I have great sight for the arts.
I think the phrase you were looking for was great sense, although that's debatable. But isn't it possible someone was just outside of your line of sight?
You are persistent. I tell you, I looked clearly. But I swear there was no one else in sight. No one!
Why do you insist that you are now absolutely not mistaken?
Because when I say I am not wrong, I am not wrong. I am rich. That's what being rich means.
Mr. LeBlanc, if I may, I think beyond misconceptions and mistakes lies the truth.
Funny, that suspiciously mirrors something I told her only a little while ago.
I honestly don't think Mr. LeBlanc is lying.
I don't think he's lying either. But I think he might be mistaken about something.
Mistaken?
Yes, and I'm going to correct his mistaken recollection with evidence.
And this professional attendant shall witness the prowess of a professional prosecutor.
Sure thing. Everything's available on PC if you edit your standards a little. It does not have an official Steam release, no. It's the only chunk of the series, I suppose, that doesn't at this point, because the Apollo Justice trilogy is about to get released. But as I've said before, I don't really want this game and its sequel to get the PC HD release, because they're probably going to have to localize the second game. And while I never played the fan translations for the Great Ace Attorney before they released the Steam version, so it never will affect me, I have a great fondness for the fan localization of this game's sequel, and I would not want it to get overwritten. It is basically perfect. Why would my cam freeze? So it did. Not the worst time, really. If somebody wants to cut that into an emote, that would work out. Now I need to fix the lighting and zoom. Better. Wee. About there. It would just need to be sized appropriately, and I don't really have the tools to do that. So, the movie I wanted to see would not start, so I checked my pocket watch many times. My watch is set to my destination's time. I always set it when I board the plane. So what does this show us? Details meals, movies, and other services inside. It says that the movie starts at 6. The movie would not start. It's set to your destination's time. All times shown correspond to our departure time zone.
Objection!
Whoopsie-days. Mr. LeBlanc, you said this just now in your testimony.
I even set my pocket watch to the destination time when I come aboard.
Now, if your watch has been set to our destination's time zone, it would mean that your watch is displaying the time of our destination.
Yes, and the correct time is worth its 6 cents.
I would like you to take a look at this. If you believe this Sky magazine, clocks on this flight run in accordance with the time of our departure time zone. Of course, the movie schedule was also created with that in mind. Uh-oh. Ms. Teniro, for confirmation's sake, what time zone is this flight aligned to right now?
Well, we made a short stop at a transfer point.
That's right. It was in that small Asian country, the Republic of Jengfa.
But we didn't readjust our onboard clocks at that time. So right now, we are still running on Borginian time.
What?
The time difference between Borginia and our destination is 9 hours. In that case, it's only natural that your watch would be out of sync with the schedule.
What?
Further, with your analog watch set to our destination's time, it would appear to be running 3 hours fast when compared to the flight's onboard clocks. It also changes everything about your testimony, and you can bet 1,000,000 cents on that. In light of this information, it means you saw Mr. Hicks 3 hours prior at 3 a.m.
My 1,000,000 cents!
This should clear up all of the remaining accusations.
So this basically widens the time frame for the time of death, right?
Yes, because Mr. LeBlanc saw the victim enter the elevator at 3 a.m., it means that the time of death could be anywhere from 3 to 6:15 a.m. The question now is, where was Mr. Hicks during that span of time, and what was he doing?
I've got something to say.
And you are?
Yeah, I'm Cammy Meal. I'm a flight attendant.
And what is it you wish to say?
Well, I think your story is a little different from how I remember it. What do you mean, Cammy? I saw Mr. Hicks sitting in his seat at 5 a.m., you know.
What? How could you be so sure of the time?
Oh, that's right. He pushed his call button while we were parked at the transfer point.
A message from Mr. iFly. This flight will be making a brief stop to refuel and transfer cargo in the Republic of Jengfa between 4 and 5. We ask that all passengers remain on board at this time. Ah, the stop we made for refueling and cargo transfer in Jengfa, correct?
Yes, it was from 4 to 5 a.m. according to our clocks.
And during that time, did any of the passengers leave, or did any new ones board this flight?
No. Not a single person got off or on in Jingfa.
What about the flight crew?
The few who were handling the cargo transfer might have temporarily gotten on or off. But eventually everyone, including Cammy and myself, came back on the plane.
So basically, I can assume that no one left or got on since our initial takeoff. Interesting. I should keep that in mind. Refueling in Jengfa. Received from Ms. Cammy Meal.
None of our passengers got off, so I had to unbutton my top.
Yeah. An iFly Airlines flight attendant charged with taking care of first class. Funny how they're the exact same age.
Yeah, and I answered his call. I can tell you Mr. Ackby Hicks was there in his seat when we took off again at 5 a.m.
Ms. Meal's testimony jotted down. Alright then, that puts the time of the murder between 5 and 6:15.
Okay, now what time did you come down to the lounge, Mr. Edgeworth?
I remember coming down here almost as soon as we left the Republic of Jengfa. Ah!
You were here the whole time from 5, yes? Then you are the only one who could be the killer.
Mr. Edgeworth, were you really here in this lounge the entire time from 5 a.m. onwards?
Unfortunately, yes.
But then, how do we explain the footprints?
Is that not obvious? This man waited for Mr. Hicks here in this lounge. Waited to kill him. And then he put the corpse into the elevator. That is what the turbulence happened. My eyewitness testimony may have been mistaken, but what time I saw Mr. Hicks enter the elevator on the second floor does not matter, because the entire incident concluded here in this lounge.
Everything happened in this lounge. Is that what you really believe, Mr. LeBlanc?
Do you have another idea?
I simply feel that there is something out of place in the scenario you presented. Is there something that can tie this crime to a location other than this lounge? I mean, yeah, it was in the elevator. We have the Sky magazine, we have picked off the floor in front of the elevator. Body found inside the elevator. Souvenir picture. Cell phone went missing. Usually on display in the in-flight shop. Could be that instead. Because they did say the shutters were open until the body was discovered.
Take that!
Yeah? The murder weapon. This little piggy bank is sold at the in-flight shop. It is sold there and only there, and is not displayed here in this lounge. How then did it find its way here? Don't you find that a tiny bit suspicious?
Such a trivial point. It only means you prepared it, taking it from the shop first before coming here. It doesn't prove you are innocent at all.
Is there no way to win with this man?
Hold it, if I may.
What is it?
You see... Well, it's just as Mr. Edgeworth says.
No? And why do you know this as well?
Well, it's just that... that piggy bank was there in the shop. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
And when was this?
It was maybe around 5:40 a.m.
Isn't that just before we hit that patch of turbulence?
That's right.
You were in the shop just before the turbulence?
Yes, I was.
Come to think of it, Mr. Nero, when I found the body, I believe you came out of that door.
Yes, I did.
And what is beyond that door?
That's the flight attendant's room.
Then, you were on the first floor?
Yes. I had to do something at the shop and in the flight attendant's room. So I went to the shop first and then to the flight attendant's room.
Are you saying you passed by me at some point?
Yes, you seemed really into that issue of Sky Magazine you were reading at the time. I don't suppose you noticed me walking by.
I vaguely recall someone walking by, but I didn't take notice of who it was.
Anyway, the piggy bank was definitely there at the shop when I went there.
Why did you go to the shop in the first place?
I went there for a work-related matter.
Work, you say?
Yes, the upkeep of the shop is also one of my responsibilities.
Why did you not say anything about that until now is what I want to know.
In any case, I believe it's clear that the shop needs to be investigated as well.
Shall we head over there, then? Hold it.
What is it now?
Are you forgetting something, Miss Rhoda? Don't you need the captain's permission to check the shop? No, I haven't forgotten. But I have already asked him for permission to search the entire plane. So I think we're all right.
I don't know why I'm giving the flight attendants such weird demeanors, but it's just it's the facial expressions. For Teniro, she's very robotic when she's not disturbed. And then for Cammy, this fucking smile.
Huh? That's weird.
Well, not that one, but the other one. What is?
Well, I just talked to the captain, see? And he said that he didn't give you permission to do anything like that at all.
What is the meaning of this, Mr. Nero?
It means she's lying. Go on, admit that you are. You said you had permission to search all over, but you don't. And yet, here you are.
You! Flight attendant! What are you trying to do? Pull the sheep over us?
Captain's calling for you, Miss Rhoda. Oh, but don't worry. I already got permission to search the shop from the captain. See, unlike you, I do things the right way.
Mr. Nero, why would you do such a thing?
Please excuse me. Looks like I get to be in charge now. Please go back to your seat, Mr. LeBlanc. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth. If you would follow me, I will be your guide from now on.
There's something about Mr. Nero that has piqued my curiosity. But right now, investigating the in-flight shop is my top priority. Right, and we don't have her as the partner button here, at least not yet. These bottles and glasses must have been broken by the turbulence. There is quite a bit of broken glass here. Please be careful when passing through the area.
Huh? Did you say something?
I said that there is glass here and to be careful.
But why?
Obviously, common sense does not register even as a blip on this girl's radar.
Mr. Edgeworth, that's the attendance room.
Please excuse me. It was a simple mistake.
You made a mistake, didn't you? Why don't you just come out and say it?
That's exactly what I just said. I made a small mistake. Don't nod off while I'm talking.
Weren't we going to go to the in-flight shop?
Of course, I still fully intend to.
Okay, well, the shop is over there, don't forget now.
piano. It's been a while since I played one of these. Might not be a bad idea to brush up a bit after all this time. Of course, that's contingent on the outcome of this case. It's time to get investigating. Miss Meal, about investigating the in-flight shop. Oh, you're of no use to be asleep. Wake up!
What's up?
I need you to come with me so I can search the shop.
Go on ahead without me. I'll catch up with you later.
How has this woman not been fired yet? Oh, I am really mad! You had better hurry and bring to me some evidence. If you could wait just a little longer while we look into the shop. Ha! Don't number the birds before they are born! Don't number the what? I have no idea what he's trying to say. Don't count your chickens before they hatch, perhaps. All I ask of you is patience and cooperation. I've never heard of either of those things. These counter windows offer a glimpse of the sky, but these clouds tell me nothing. Now's not the time for me to stand here making up soliloquies. I should be hurrying to the shop and investigating. Okay, wait, I will read this in a second. Hang on. There are a few copies of Sky Magazine in the magazine rack. The special this month is an English trivia quiz. Of course, I have never uttered a single grammatically incorrect sentence in my life. Verily, I say. What is it? Why are you looking at me for? Hurry and go do your investigating. I do not believe in this making haste slowly you have saying in English. There's something written on the pedestal. Here lies Hugo Ifley. I don't think that's what they meant to write. This toppled over chair, yet another victim of the turbulence. There's something written on the back. In honor of Rocker Pals Day. I have the distinct impression that this chair has nothing to do with this case. I already checked this area earlier, but it never hurts to take another look. There's money strewn all over the floor of the elevator. I guess this was all in Mr. Hicks' wallet before the incident. I doubt anyone was expecting to find a dead body in an elevator on this flight. For the victim's sake, I will do everything in my power to bring this to a speedy end. The machine that should be hanging off of here must still be on the plane somewhere. Blood on the back of Mr. Hicks's head. Could be the cause of death. He appears to have been struck very hard. The Mr. Ifley here was probably being used to hit the victim on the back of the head. Sorry, Mr. Ifly. Glasses and candles thrown into disarray by the turbulence. Seeing this reminds me of the ferocity of that last patch. And of... No, I can't do this anymore. I've overcome that already. Won't let past traumas control me for the rest of my life. Considering which way these prints are pointed, it is likely the killer went into the shop. I should really make my way over there now. Alright, fine. March 12, 8:32 a.m. Flight I-390, first floor, in-flight shop. So this is the in-flight shop. It's quite a mess in here.
You think? Guess I'll have to clean things up then.
Hold on, you can't clean up a potential crime scene.
Oh, thank goodness. I hate cleaning so much.
I mustn't rush things here. I must remain cool, calm, and collected. Because this piggy bank was left at the crime scene. There is a very good chance that the killer had paid this place a visit. Begin investigation, in-flight shop.
I don't know much about this shop, but you can still ask me about whatever.
So what do you think about what has happened here regarding this case?
I don't know. I guess I think you're the killer, though, Mr. Edgeworth.
I can assure you that I'm here in this shop to prove just the opposite.
Yeah. But it was me that got you the permission to look around. You know? So don't forget that, okay?
How am I supposed to thank you properly if you insist on falling asleep?
Well, you know what would really show your thanks? You see that item for sale over there?
Sorry, but you're going to have to make do with my words of appreciation.
Ooh, I'd love to have this piece of jewellery. Can I have it?
No, you may not! This is a prosecutor's badge!
Phooey. Then why did you show it to me?
I wanted to prove to you that I really am a prosecutor, and that it's not possible for a prosecutor like me to commit such a crime as... I see that I'm just wasting my time with Cousin Hare here.
So what is that? Are you going to give it to me? Oh, but I'm not supposed to accept any presents. Unless they're really worth something.
No, I'm pretty sure you're still not supposed to accept them. I don't think there's a value exception. That said, I don't know why you want all these murder weapons.
Miss Rhoda said that this piggy bank was in this shop, right? Don't you find her a tiny bit suspicious?
I don't think I can say either way yet. There's not enough evidence to convince me that she was lying about anything back there.
Are you sure about that?
Why do you want to put blame on your co-worker? So what is that? That's your testimony!
Like I said earlier, I was the one answering people's calls while we were refueling in Zhengfa. And Mr. Hicks was in his seat at that time.
What time was that again?
He called at around 5 a.m. You were at your seat around that time too, you know.
I do recall people calling for service at around that time. Even if this turns out to be a waste of time, I must stand firm. I just know that there is a vital clue or two awaiting me here in this shop. Yep. Note that, yeah, she's sort of the partner, but she's not. We don't have the button for her. Inside this display case is a row of lifesavers and life vests for sale.
We sell a lot of those when there's some kind of accident or something. But some people buy them even when nothing's going on. How about it, Mr. Edgeworth? Care to buy one?
I sense that this shop is one shopper away from being sued. What are these?
Oh, those are our company's completely original line of suitcases. They're practically flying out the door. That's how popular they are. You should buy one and see how you like it. You won't regret it.
Perhaps that's how things work on this flight, but in the real world, you try, then buy.
No way! But either way, it doesn't really matter.
True. Either way, why would anyone buy a suitcase after they've boarded the plane?
Anyway, see that? Just look at all the Mr. iFly heads painted on there. Cute company mascot, isn't he? They're painted on with a lot of care. Doesn't he look like he's just about to jump out at you?
It certainly is making something jump inside my stomach.
Huh? Oh, I guess there's no fooling your refined tastes. You look like you really wanted to get one. And I thought I was going to finally make my first sale, but you saw right through it. Glad that's done, though. Never make me try to give you a sales pitch ever again, okay?
But I never showed any interest in it to begin with.
It really is pretty horrible, isn't it? You want to know something? This suitcase was designed by Ms. Rhoda.
Miss Tenero designed this.
Yeah, it was a company-wide contest.
Well, it does have a very sharp design sense.
Sharp? Like stinky sharp cheddar, maybe. I really have no idea why the big race decided to go with it. It's so bleh.
Miss Tenero designed this, did she? It's definitely not what I would have expected. Ah!
You okay?
I'm fine! Please watch yourself, Ms. Meal. Letting a suitcase freely roll around has got to be a safety violation.
Here, I'll put it back.
Beautiful flowers and a beautiful arrangement. I feel cleansed just by looking at them.
Mr. Edgeworth, you're getting pollen all over.
Oh, excuse me. Suitcases designed by Mr. Nero. That's one sharp design. There is a wide selection of souvenirs for sale in these display cases.
You know what I'd suggest?
Sorry, but I have no intention of buying souvenirs on this trip.
Okay, then how about you buy something for me then? As a present.
I can't think of a single reason why I'd want to buy you anything.
But I've had my eye on that pendant for such a long time.
Try paying some attention to me when I ask you something. Then we'll talk. The glass from this display case's door is shattered all over the floor. And it looks like there's nothing on display inside either. Wait, actually, I think there is something. What's this? A mini captain's hat? We have seen one of them before. Stuffed toys, just like the one Ms. Meal is holding, are on display here. They're relatively cheap, which explains why they were displayed so haphazardly.
How about it, Mr. Edgeworth?
You know you want one too.
They're great for when you're stressed.
Why do I envision stuffed animal abuse when she says that? There are all kinds of luxury name-brand merchandise for sale in this display case. And they're lined up in just such a manner as to scream, "Buy me!" to any passers-by. I think that's everything. As far as I can tell. What logic do we have? We have broken glasses, the tiny captain's hat, the Mr. Eyefly murder weapon, and the suitcase. Feels odd that the mini captain hat would be below the expensive necklaces. Did we find the Mr. Eyeflies? I guess they're over there, but we're not really, like, addressing them. I didn't know what to do next. These don't seem related.
I don't know much about this shop, but you can still ask me about whatever.
We can see the captain's hat, but we can't present it yet because it's not evidence yet. We don't have any new evidence to show her. Brrr. It doesn't mention the iFly stuff here. Like, it could have been taken from this shelf. It could be the hole here. But I don't know what the actual, like, connection is supposed to be. We could connect what we found on the shelf with what we think should be on the shelf. I think this is going to hurt me, though. I don't know what I'm doing. It doesn't really add up, but it's the only thing I can think of. But we can afford to take hits, so I can do like a random toss-out and see if it works. Like, the logic here isn't so much that these two are related, but the idea that maybe they were both found on the broken shelf. Because, yeah, broken glass isn't about the glass in here. That's a previous one. It's the victim's glasses. So I don't think I could use that to say broken cabinet. Like, we don't have broken cabinet here in the logic window. I'm just gonna do this. Really? Okay, tell me why that worked. Is it because of why I thought so, or was there something else I missed that I got lucky? Well, the flight attendant has the tiny captain hat on her stuffed animal. But we couldn't talk to her about it. The hat probably used to be on the piggy bank's head. Let's give it a go and see. I believe this piggy bank was forcibly removed from this display case. That is awkward logic leap there. Does this mean that the killer broke the glass to get at it? Mr. iFly piggy bank data updated in my organizer. Now he has the hat on.
Huh? Really?
There is where we saw it before. Don't tell me you don't know what things go where in this shop. The hat was way smaller than what you were thinking. Well, I mean... This is the size reference we have. Not to stare too intently at her chest by any means. But, you know, the hat and the stuffed animal is where the eyes are leading. Don't tell me you don't know what things go where in this shop.
Well, I don't. Miss Rhoda's in charge of this place. So come on, how should I know anything?
I sense that further inspection on this display case is needed. I don't think we mixed those up, though. Unless the suitcase broke the glasses. I don't think he got smacked in the head by a suitcase. Can we examine this stand any? Yeah, no, it's the stuffed toys. I guess we're meant to see the hats on the toys. Bit of a stretch. So what got updated? This did. And now even in the examine menu, it has a hat on. The hat on its head was found inside a display case in the in-flight shop. I wonder if that fact has any bearing on the case. Well, it definitely lost its hat. No, she says the same thing, because I was able to skip it. Okay, now this is explorable. That's good. Got some interesting figures here. Is this the same man as the one portrayed by the statues around the elevator?
Yeah, that's a paperweight of the founder of iFly Airlines, Mr. Hugo Ifley. On the bottom shelf, we have the cute one. The middle shelf is the realistic one. And on the top shelf, that's the floral version.
Floral? Are you sure about that? Let me guess, you just said the first thing that came to your mind, right? Looks like I hit the bullseye. You're not supposed to do that. That's how you get the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Is this the same man as the one portrayed by the statues around the elevator? Yes, okay. Even up here? Yes. There's nothing of interest here. Books. iFly Airlines related books line this shelf. The history of iFly Airlines. The future of iFly Airlines. The 7 wonders of iFly. Fight on, iFly Airlines. Working name, Go You Airlines. I Heart Fly-ing. Unless those dashes are censor bars, in which case it's I Heart Fly Fucking. The titles make it very clear that they won't be making the top sellers list anytime soon. Yeah, the statue was right under very expensive necklaces, you're right. The glass on this door is broken. Perhaps it was the killer who broke it in order to take the piggy bank. But it's a bit odd that the inside of the case is so devoid of glass shards. Plus, the glass broke rather cleanly.
Ah!
Well, what is it?
I touched the glass and it cut my finger.
Well, that was not wise.
It hurts, Mr. Edgeworth, it hurts.
Please tell me you can deal with such a minor cut on your own. If we keep repeating this dialogue, we can make her cut herself. Like just... If we run the dialogue 10 times, she'll have a cut on every single finger on both hands. If this game ever came to Steam, I wonder if there'd be an achievement for getting her to cut her fingers 10 times. I guess there's deduce. Oh, not that spot necessarily. But we can deduce something. We can deduce that the piggy bank was here. So I think we already know that, but like, it might do something. There is definitely something very unusual about this.
About what?
If the killer had broken the glass to get at the Mr. iFly bank, there should be shards of glass inside the case itself.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I guess it'd be like that.
However, there's not a single piece of glass inside the case.
Nope. No, there isn't.
Which means that the glass was broken from the inside out. This piggy bank must have fallen over from the turbulence and right through the glass.
Yeah, that's for sure. There's so much glass all over the floor.
I'm willing to bet that this hat was knocked off its head at that time too.
Ah, that's nice.
Which leads me to believe that the killer took Mr. iFly from here after the turbulence. The plane shook so much during the turbulence that it made a huge mess of the shop. Mr. iFly piggy bank data updated in the organizer. Take your power naps on your own time, Ms. Meal, and listen when I'm talking!
Ah!
But the murder occurred before the turbulence, which rules this piggy bank out as the murder weapon.
So you mean the bank's not the real murder weapon? It's fake?
Yes, at this point, that is a very real possibility.
But then what if when the killer went to take Mr. iFly, they broke the glass by accident?
The display case is locked, so that's highly unlikely.
Yeah, but there's one person who could have.
Oh, and who would that be?
Ms. Rhoda, of course. I mean, she's the one in charge of this place, so she has the keys to everything.
Miss Rhoda Tenero, huh? What do we have now? Broken glasses, suitcase, turbulence. Turbulence and suitcase probably connect, because turbulence makes suitcase go shake a shake a bang bang. Yes, there is definitely something wrong here.
What's with the sudden yelling?
Tell me, Ms. Meal, don't you think there's something strange about these suitcases?
Oh, well, sure. They totally is strange. Like the colour and the such.
That's not what I'm talking about. Now pay attention.
Ah, you're scaring me, Mr. Edgeworth.
Sorry. These suitcases are lined up a bit too prim and proper.
Yeah, they look a bit uptight, don't they? But I guess they take after their creator.
Again, that's not what I meant, Ms. Meal. Don't you find it unusual that these cases are the only things undisturbed by the turbulence? Oh, never mind. I'd sooner find an answer by inspecting these suitcases myself. Upon closer inspection, they really are quite hideous.
I wonder how Ms. Rhoda would have reacted if she'd heard what you just said. What's wrong?
She makes a good point. It would be wise of me to watch what I say out loud. What's this? I've spotted something that's not quite right. What is so unusual about this suitcase? That one has stoppers and this one doesn't. I don't know which one to look at, but let's look at the one with blockers, because we'd already established they didn't have them.
Take that!
This is what is so odd.
I don't think it's that strange at all.
But maybe not to that extent. Okay, then the fucking other one. That's stupid.
Take that!
Yeah, I figured you thought the design was odd too.
I never said the design was odd. Oh, come on. Is that just precision? I can't let her get me all riled up. Time to calmly take another good hard look. What is so unusual about the suitcase?
Take that!
There's something very peculiar about these wheels.
Huh? As in?
As in, there are no stoppers in place on these. Without stoppers, one would think that the turbulence would have sent it flying.
And?
And so, it is very likely that this suitcase was placed here after we hit that turbulence. Let's take a closer look at it, shall we? This was apparently designed by Ms. Tenero herself. The design has a certain je ne sais quoi about it. Yes, perhaps that is the best way to put it. It would appear to be unlocked. Let's take a look at what's inside. A piece of cloth. And it's soaked with blood.
Ah! It's blood.
It appears that this suitcase is very strongly tied to our murder after all.
So explain this to me. What does this suitcase have to do with the murder?
I believe it's pretty safe to say that the killer used this suitcase in some manner, such as to move something, perhaps.
But aren't you just talking about the cloth then?
That alone is too small. A larger item would be needed to move what I'm thinking of. The thing I believe the killer used this suitcase to transport is the whole man!
Take that!
Something that would fit inside a suitcase that is also covered in blood. Sounds like a dead body, doesn't it?
But...
Found inside the suitcase, its beautiful pattern has been soiled by blood. For there to be this much blood on this piece of cloth, was the victim wrapped in it at some point? There's something very familiar about this fabric pattern. LeBlanc. Can we look in again? Why would there be blood inside a suitcase like this? This cloth was most likely in here with the body. Just what was this suitcase used for? What's this? The wheel is completely covered in something. This color and this scent. It appears that the substance in question is grape juice. But why would there be juice on the wheel of a suitcase? Because... the suitcase was dragged along with the man walking through the puddle. In light of this, I'd say that Mr. Hicks was moved into the elevator from someplace else, which means that the murder was committed in an entirely different location.
So you're saying that after moving the body into the elevator, the killer brought the suitcase in here and just left it?
Exactly. What is it?
Nothing. Just that... I was thinking about what Miss Rhoda said about coming here for something. Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth. I wanted to give you a bit more time, but I'm afraid I wasn't able to convince the captain. I'm very sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but the captain feels that he has allowed you ample time. He says that he'd appreciate it if you could wrap it up here and return to your seat.
I understand his sentiments. However, if I'm not allowed to complete my investigation, the crime scene may become contaminated by the time we land. If I must stop, then I insist I be allowed to oversee the preservation of the two sites. Under your supervision, of course.
If that's your only condition, then I believe we can accommodate your wishes. I'm here to assist you in any way that I can, Mr. Edgeworth. Sounds like fun. We can camp out and watch over everything together.
I found proof that the real crime scene was not in the lounge. And I have enough evidence to prove myself to be innocent of any wrongdoing. And yet, regarding what Ms. Meal reminded me about Ms. Tenero, I can't allow my investigation to end here. The truth must come to light. To be continued. I would assume 4 chunks of this. It's interesting because unlike the rest of the series, where you have the clear delineation of investigation and trial, everything in this is more mixed together. There are no trials, the investigation is the whole game, but they work in confrontations against hostile NPCs as the cross-examination analogy, but you can do that at any point. Like, we started talking with Tenero before we'd gotten the chance to look at anything. And it's good, because, like, it breaks it up better. But, it does make it harder to judge how far into a case you've gone. You know, there is a man on a bench. That's odd, isn't it? He's just eating some food. Seems perfectly natural to me. March 12, 1 p.m. local time. Hope Springs Airport. I know that once we had landed, I'm supposed to let the local police take over. And thanks to Mr. Nero and Ms. Meal, I was able to preserve the crime scene. But I just can't shake it. I wasn't able to talk with Mr. Nero in private. So, I'm left wondering just what was she up to? Why did she do what she did? There must be a way for me to continue my investigation. Oh boy. Well, we know who that is.
I've been expecting you, Miles Edgeworth.
Franziska. I thought you were still in Germany.
I go where I am needed. And wherever there are criminals to be caught.
Her name is Franziska von Karma. The daughter of my mentor, Manfred von Karma. She, like myself, is a prosecutor. Are you heading up this case? It would be a bit of a relief if you are.
Don't you try to flatter me, Miles Edgeworth. I'm placing you under arrest.
What?
It's quite frustrating, actually. I had hoped to exact my revenge on you in a different venue. But I'll have to take what I can get. I never thought I'd see the day when a disciple of the House of Von Karma would become a criminal. Have you no shame?
Wait, it has all been a big misunderstanding. I didn't kill the victim.
A misunderstanding. I heard all about the murder over the police radio from the captain himself. You waited for the victim on the first floor and then beat him to death.
Franziska, do you honestly believe that I killed a man?
I suppose I should reserve judgment until after I have investigated this for myself. I can put your arrest on hold until then.
That's as it should be.
I don't need a lecture on how to perform my duties from you, of all people. To be perfect in every way, the fulfillment of that creed alone is all I strive for.
Well, I have my own creed which I must fulfill, so why don't we solve this together?
I have to get going. The crime scene awaits. Don't you dare leave town.
Trust me, I had no intention to.
Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, sir!
Too slow?
Ow!
Listen up. I'm leaving you in charge of watching this man. Don't mess up, understand?
Mr. Edgeworth? I'm supposed to guide him?
A simple yes or no, Detective.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir. You just leave it to me.
Miles Edgeworth. If you interfere with my investigation, I'll arrest you on the spot. Are we clear? Now then, if you'll excuse me.
Good to see you again, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Boy, am I glad to see you're okay.
Thank you, Detective.
I believe in you, sir. You can lean on me. I'll get you through this.
I have to admit I'm a bit curious as to what Franziska is up to. Maybe I should ask the good detective. Very well. In that case, I have a few questions for you. We do have quite a number of people other than Gumshoe hanging out at the airport, though. Let's see the yellow shirt man. This yellow shirt child. This child seems to be happily enjoying the sight of so many planes.
Wow! I'd love to take a run down that runway!
Oh, the youth of today. So much potential, yet so misguided. The camera's frozen again? Oh, great. Do those of you remember what that signifies? What me having my camera off indicates? Not off, rather it breaking. What it breaking in it. Because it only breaks under a certain condition. No memory. It's been a while since I've done the thing that causes this to happen. I'm finding it easier at some stages to use my controller to advance this game. When I have my controller in my hands, it occasionally disconnects, and when it disconnects and reconnects, it does so really quickly and I don't really notice. But every time it happens, there's a small chance my camera breaks for no reason at all. The best we can tell, it's something to do with the disruption of one USB connection disrupting another USB connection, but my microphone never breaks, and that's also a USB connection. So I don't know. But yeah, the camera will freeze when I have controller games, and it just does that. If I ever do Yakuza or Kingdom Hearts, it'll be a real pain in the ass, because it'll happen all the time. Shared USB bus. Maybe. I think the microphone's plugged into the front. Everything else is plugged into the back, so... We got more people here. We have a man in green. Lunchland. Not bad. I guess it's gotten big enough to warrant its own branch shops. Which should I go with?
I recommend our airport special, World Flags lunchboxes, only available for a limited time. We have a variety of lunchboxes made up to look like different countries' flags.
I wonder if they're aiming to take Lunchland to the international market. Presumably this is the same conversation with both people. Yes. We started last week, Helio, if you didn't notice. This man was in first class with me. He was quite shaken up by the whole affair. I did it. Oh, I did it as in... I did it! I made it the whole flight! I'm not scared of turbulence anymore! He must have been pretty scared. He's repeating the same thing over and over to himself. I thought he was saying he did the murder. Anyway, there's also a man eating lunch over here, who looks disturbingly familiar. Looking from behind, I think I've seen this man somewhere before.
In Soviet Russia, World Flags lunchboxes eat you! Found it! Lol. Oh, I feel a wave of creative powers coming on. It's over 9,000! For my next lead movie, it's gonna be the Steel Samurai Warrior of Neo Oldie Tokyo versus the World Samurai Champion of the Earth. It's gonna rock, sir. So many boxers.
So the Steel Samurai is finally getting a movie. And it's the same conversation again.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's interesting that they put voice acting in the game for this one character, isn't it? That's weird. Either that or I discovered ventriloquism. No, that was Snip. Thank you, Snip, for helping me out there. To give context for the people who didn't watch me stream the first game, that's a cameo character from the first game who I hate. And I said at the time, as we were getting up to it, that I did not want to do his voice because I hate him. And Snip said, "What was it exactly that you said you were gonna play the undesirable for me?"
I don't remember anymore.
You said something self-deprecating, but either way, yeah, Snip came in and
Probably something like I'm used to being the villain, or I guess not the villain, but
I think that's all he does in this game. I don't think they extend it more than a cameo. But as eventually became tradition when I streamed Ace Attorney games, Snip always showed up in he always showed up in Case 3 as an increasingly more prominent character. First he was minor sub witness, sort of sub villain, I guess, because he's like, I don't think he gets charged with anything, but like he's covering for the real culprit. Game 2 you were Mo the Clown, and Game 3 you were Furio Tigre, who ends up being the final boss of that case. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if anything similar happens in this game. I don't know. Thanks for that.
I remember saying that for Ace Attorney 4, I reserved the role of Clavier Gavin. But
And then unfortunately I
Yeah.
skipped that one. But
yeah.
I will eventually. I just need to, do these and then wait an appropriate amount of time until we get the, what's the word? Decent fucking sales deal on it. Anyway, thanks. Alright. I like that I've just left Gumshoe standing here, staring, because he's supposed to be looking at me and you're supposed to talk to him immediately, but instead I'm just walking around him and he's still. What a view of the planes preparing for takeoff. Besides the turbulence, they're really not all that bad as a mode of transportation. I should try to get some information out of Detective Gumshoe first. Before going further. Okay, so it automatically plays that if you get too close to the. I guess that's where we're going. But first, Gumshoe. Initial investigation. So how is the initial investigation going?
We just shipped the body off to the coroner's office. And we're taking statements now, sir.
That sounds like Franziska. She was always good at quick responses to a case.
I'd say she was a little too quick, sir.
Oh? How so?
I rushed on over as soon as I got word of the affair, sir. But somehow, when I got here, Ms. Von Karma was already here barking orders out at everyone. It was kind of creepy, though she knew there had been a murder or something. And had come in advance to wait your flight's arrival.
That is sort of odd. She did show up rather quickly and out of the blue. Plus, I still don't know why she's here in America. There must be some backstory to all of this.
Ms. Von Karma just kinda popped up at the prosecutor's office about a week ago, sir. Something about chasing down leads related to a certain incident.
No details?
It's kinda top secret, so she can't talk about it even with me, sir.
Knowing her, the only type of talking she likes to do is with her whip. Plus, I doubt the top secret part was what stopped her from talking to you, Detective. Although I wonder if her case has anything to do with mine.
Anyway, that's about all the info I have, sir. We should find out more as we investigate.
Yes, it is high time to resume my investigation, starting with talking to the people involved in this case afresh. And now he's a partner.
Yes, sir.
Actually, does having Gumshoe, walking with me change any of these conversations? What a view of the planes preparing for takeoff.
I want to ride a plane someday and go overseas.
Have you never been to another country before, Detective?
Nope, not yet, sir. I don't even have a passport. But I've been saving up for that eventual someday. A penny a day, to be precise.
At that rate, he won't be making any trips until well after retirement. This child seems to be excited to visit planes.
I'm all excited to see this many planes, too. Just look at the size of these things.
Do you like planes too, mister? The balance between the main wings and the tail wings is really something, huh?
Huh. It seems that this child derives his pleasure from a different aspect.
Oh, but I've also got a thing for the shape of the wings, too.
Here, mister, you can stand next to me. So about that plane's wing.
Thank you, Detective, for leaving me out of this conversation. Yeah, I wasn't sure they'd give him anything else because he's not, talking to us. He's just talking to himself. But it does prevent me from speeding up the dialogue naturally.
Mr. Edgeworth, we gotta get him some water!
Oh, okay, so there's an additional Gumshoe line, but everything Salmonella says is the same shit.
Phew. Good thing it was a false alarm, right, Mr. Edgeworth? Completely ignoring me as usual.
This man was quite shaken up by the whole affair.
I'd be pretty scared too if I got caught up in a murder investigation, sir.
This life vest is proof I made it alive. It's now my most prized possession. How could you just take that from the plane?
It's okay, Mr. Edgeworth. It's got nothing to do with the murder, at least.
Lunchland.
Oh, I've always wanted to give their steak lunch a try. Which should I go with?
If you really want one that badly, Detective, why don't you go ahead and buy one?
Is that okay, sir? Thanks! Alright then, I'm really gonna get one. Here I go. Excuse me, miss. I'll take a Star-Spangled Banner lunchbox, please.
I hope he's aware that's the most expensive one on the menu. Yeah, I think Gumshoe mistakenly thought that you were offering to pay there, Miles. That's interesting, the customer doesn't say as much when Gumshoe's with us. Alright, away we go. I can't believe there's no one running the counter when a murder has just occurred.
Relax, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm here. I'll make sure nothing else happens.
You are precisely why I can't relax. March 12, 1:37 p.m., flight I-390, second floor, first class.
So, you must be the captain.
Captain does not seem to have a name. I don't know if he's got a sprite or not. But he looks... yeah, he's a cool guy with sunglasses. Why, yes I am. And who might you be?
I am the prodigy prosecutor, Franziska von Karma, and I have a few questions for you. Ah, don't you dare, Captain. Getting friendly with another woman. I'll never forgive you if you do.
What are you talking about? I only have eyes for you, my dear Cammy. I wouldn't bet money on our dear captain to be much of a reputable person.
Sure you don't want to ask the captain some questions, sir?
He was in the cockpit the whole time. I highly doubt he would know anything of use. Anyway, I like to leave that type of witness to Franziska and her whip. Ah! See? March 12, 1:40 p.m., flight I-390, first floor lounge.
Now see here! Ah! Sorry, I'm sorry! How long do you intend to hold me? It is impossible for me to be the criminal, I told you!
Mr. LeBlanc.
Oh, it is you. Tell this man to stop stopping me from going. Time is money! I don't even have 1 second of wasteful time to spend. Yes, sir?
Anything of interest, Detective?
Well, I can say that I don't quite know everything about the situation yet. So I was just telling myself that I should go ask someone about the stuff I don't know. I mean, just because I don't know don't know it doesn't mean someone else might not know it, right?
It must be my imagination, but for a second I think I actually understood his logic.
Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, I think something just fell out of your pocket.
What are you...
So did something fall out or not? I didn't get a good look, sir.
It doesn't concern you, so don't worry about it. My prosecutor's badge of all things. Gumshoe must never know that I dropped it. Detective Gumshoe, this is...
Oh, is that for me? Ah, you shouldn't have, sir, but I'll gladly take anything you want to give it to. Give to me.
Hands off, Detective. This item is related to the case.
Oh. So, what about it that you want to ask me about?
Forget I asked, Detective. We're going to be going through this a lot.
What is this raccoon-looking thing?
It's not a raccoon, it's the mascot of iFly Airlines. His name is Mr. iFly, and apparently he's supposed to be a monkey.
Ugh, I'm feeling some inspiration coming on. I'm gonna make a piggyback out of the police mascot, the Blue Badger. Then, whenever there's any loose change lying around the precinct, it can go in there.
Sure, sounds great. As long as it isn't any of my money.
So, this design. So postmodern, sir.
Postmodern, you say?
Yeah, especially this alien-shaped handle here. You can really feel a connection.
A connection. Right. Detective, please stop with your horrible impression of an art critic.
I was only telling you my honest feelings, sir.
Hey. Sir, you can't go in there. I'm Miles Edgeworth. I am one of the prosecutors on this case, so please let me through. I'm very sorry, sir. No one is allowed to enter without Miss Von Karma's express permission. But I'm on the case. Yes, I understand that, but I also have explicit instructions not to let you through for Miss Von Karma. Oh, why would you do this to me, Francisca? Did you finish taking his statement yet?
Yup, all done, sir. I do not concern if you're not done examining the cargo hold. I want my cargo back. If you make a single scratch on my art, you will pay.
Art? What sort of art?
Mr. LeBlanc is an art dealer, so he's got a bunch of artwork down here in the cargo hold, sir. There's practically a mountain of them, large and small. From folk costumes to stone statues, I sell all kinds of art.
Folk costumes? Speaking of which, Mr. LeBlanc's hat. It kind of looks like that other piece of cloth. Yeah, it does. We'll show things to him later. Let's just quickly go around the room again.
They got a piano on this plane. Hey, do you think I could try it out, sir?
I'd think you would know better than to randomly touch things at a crime scene, Detective. Besides, I didn't know you knew how to play.
Of course I do. I'm practically proficient.
Interesting. The things you learn about people on a daily basis.
I can get dough and Ray to come out just right, sir.
2 notes does not a proficient pianist make, Detective.
Ah, man, there's a really pretty lady in that plane over there. Ah, she's looking over here. Quick, sir, wave at her with me, please.
I refuse to be your wingman on this. There are a few copies of Sky Magazine in the magazine rack.
This month's special. Oh, it looks like it's an English trivia quiz. Oh, I've got one. What starts with I and means boldly rude and disrespectful?
The answer is most definitely insolent.
Time's up. Sorry, sir, but the correct answer is insolvent.
Detective Gumshoe, don't tell me your English ability is at the same level as him. Say, Gumshoe he can be a bit mean to. I don't know that he should be a bit mean to someone who is literally from another country that doesn't speak English.
Hey, the statue!
What about it, Detective? Did you notice something?
I saw this guy in a dream last night. The resemblance is uncanny, sir.
You saw him in your dreams?
Oh yeah, I saw him and then I arrested him. I wanted to show you just how vital I am in our partnership.
Being useful in your sleep is of no help to me in the real world, Detective. So there's police tape up here.
Looks like we can't go beyond here, sir.
Plus, the body has been sent off to the medical examiner's office for an autopsy.
Ah! Mr. Edgeworth, you have to see this chair! It says, in honor of Rocker Pals Day!
And what exactly is the big deal with these Rocker Pals?
They're a seriously sweet Swiss superstar rock band, sir. Makes me want to listen to one of their songs right now.
Sorry, I got lost in that forest of S's just now.
You want me to explain it to you again?
You know, Detective, I think I'll have to take a rain check on that, regrettably. That's everything. I see why they cut this off. It's because they didn't want to have to, like, have Gumshoe lines for everything across both rooms. Alright, we continue on with you. I think we present stuff to you now. Namely, we need to show him the cloth, but we'll present everything to him for fun.
You! I can say you have the guts to show me a piece of art at this time. But from a single glance, I could already tell it is mostly worthless.
When did I get this game? I got this game in 2016, sort of. This is the only chunk of Ace Attorney that is not available on Steam. It was not refurbished. So this is an original DS version. It's just, you know, put together in the usual way one does play DS games on their PC in the year 2024. I always had the ability, and I always said this was going to be the next part of Ace Attorney that I did, but for one reason or another, I was doing other things up until now, but it seemed like I had a free slot. Like, I did a bunch of Metal Gear Solids because Sam bought them for me and spent a lot of money on that, so... It should. But the shop would be closed, so you wouldn't be able to get anything new on it. This has much more value as a piece of non-art, I assure you.
You look like you have something to say. Perhaps you are thinking, like casting pearls before swine.
Actually hit the nail on the head for once.
Ah, so you're finally paying my wasted money.
Sorry, but there is absolutely nothing inside this wallet.
How dare you! You are wanting to trick me! I will sue for fraud!
Mr. LeBlanc, are you seriously considering a courtroom tango with me? I hope not. But in case you are, there is a certain lawyer I can introduce you to. In fact, I'm the only one who's ever beaten him.
What is it? You have some use for me? You seem not to understand. I have no time to waste. Let me put it another way. Le temps, c'est l'argent. There. Maybe another language will get through your head.
I understood you perfectly fine in English. Ding, ding, ding. 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 Alright, this is the one we need to show me. Mr. LeBlanc, can you please take a look at this for me?
Ah, his Virginian cloth.
As I suspected, your hat is made of the same material, I suppose.
Yes, of course. This fabric is so famous, orders come from over the seas for more.
Bloody cloth data. Updated in my organizer. Then this is the cargo you were talking about earlier.
No. My cargo this time is much, many gigantic. You, detective, when can I have my cargo moved? You can get your cargo back after we're done investigating, pal. The stubbornness of you police, it is no good. It is no good that attendant refuses to exit the attendant's room, too.
That attendant? I wonder if he's talking about Mr. Nero. What did you mean by that attendant, Mr. LeBlanc?
She was taken into the attendant's room for her interview. And then they still have not come out. They make no sign of coming out either. I was finished with my own interview much earlier, quicker than her.
Why is Mr. Nero's interview the only one that's taking up so much time?
Miles Edgeworth, you were given free rein to examine the plane, weren't you?
Yes, I was able to obtain the cooperation of the flight attendants. Speaking of attendants, I'd like to speak with Mr. Nero. I wonder if you might grant me permission to enter the flight attendant's room.
Before I do, you still have to clear up a few issues surrounding your own circumstances.
I understand.
You may have tricked those attendants with your sophisticated talking, but you can't pull the wool over my eyes, Miles Edgeworth.
Franziska's logic.
Let's not complicate things and go with the most obvious conclusion. The scene of the crime was here, in the very lounge the body was discovered. From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until his body was found, the only person in the lounge this entire time was you, Miles Edgeworth. This unmistakably makes you the likeliest suspect.
The likeliest suspect, Franziska.
Do you have a problem with that?
No, but it's not like you to use such vague wording. You're usually a bit more absolute.
I'm simply trying to watch out for you. Or is my kindness too hard for you to comprehend?
Thank you, but your leniency is unnecessary, for I will prove my innocence soon enough. If I want to continue my investigation, I'll have to break her line of logic fast. Franziska's logic.
Let's not complicate things and go with the most obvious conclusion.
Hold it!
Don't you think you're being a bit rash by simply declaring me the culprit?
I like my affairs to be simple and perfect. I'll show you the meaning of both when I finish this whole thing within 3 minutes.
Hey, you say that like you're cooking a pack of instant noodles. Ow!
I won't allow even 3 seconds of useless testimony to be uttered in my presence.
I see she hasn't changed a bit. But I won't allow her to send me to prison so easily.
The scene of the crime was here, in the very lounge the body was discovered.
Give me a moment. Okay.
Hold it!
Thank you, sis, but I didn't do it. So tell me, Franziska, do you know all there is to know about the crime scene?
I know all that I need to know in order to arrest you.
And nothing more?
Are you saying there's more I need to know?
Ah! Why did you whip me, sir?
Sorry, Scruffy, my hand must have slipped.
It would appear that Franziska doesn't have all the facts of this case yet.
From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until his body was found.
Hold it!
What do you mean by seen?
Please stop pretending like you don't know. It's insulting. Obviously, I'm talking about how Mr. Hicks was seen calling for an attendant at 5 a.m. And then, from the time after that call until the body was found, the only person in this lounge the entire time was you, Miles Edgeworth.
While it's true that I was in the lounge the whole time, that fact alone does not make me the criminal.
Objection!
We'll see about that at the conclusion of this investigation. However, there's one thing that even you must admit at this time. This unmistakably makes you the likeliest suspect.
Hold it!
Under the circumstances, I suppose I can agree that I am the most likely suspect.
But I believe in you, sir. I don't think you did it. Miss Von Karma's gotta believe that too, right? I mean, you two are like siblings. Ow!
Quiet, Scruffy! Even if we were related by blood, that's no guarantee that he's not a criminal.
Franziska,
I demand to see some proof that you're not the guilty party.
the likeliest suspect. What a roundabout euphemism. But it would appear that she doesn't yet know about the new evidence that we acquired and where we acquired it. I'll take care of the gaps in her logic one hole at a time. The scene of the crime was here, in the very lounge the body was discovered. No! The body was moved, bitch.
Objection!
It would appear that you did not have all the information you needed after all.
And what does that mean?
I found a nice piece of evidence just before I was forced to stop investigating. A piece that proves that the body was moved from a different location. The killer used this suitcase to move the victim's body, meaning that the real scene of the crime is not this lounge at all.
Objection!
Now who's the one rashly jumping to conclusions?
Excuse me?
All you did was find this piece of cloth inside the suitcase. That doesn't prove that the body was moved. It could be that the killer simply chose that suitcase as a good place to hide the cloth.
I expected you would come to that conclusion. It would seem I can't escape that easily.
You should know better than that. Von Karma is perfect in every way.
Ah, but did you know that the killer definitely wheeled the suitcase around at some point?
Objection!
As if there's proof of that.
Where is the proof that this suitcase was moved? The grape juice footprints.
Take that!
The spilled grape juice in front of the elevator?
Yes, and I'd like to draw your attention to this area here. Where is the evidence that proves the killer dragged the suitcase through here? The lines, the drag marks.
Take that!
This mark here, wouldn't you say that it looks suspiciously like tracks from two wheels?
I suppose.
Further, there is also grape juice residue on the wheels of the suitcase. This means that the suitcase containing the victim's body definitely passed through here.
I suppose this means that the killer did move the victim's body from somewhere else.
I'm glad you've come to your senses.
Objection!
Not so fast. This still doesn't put you in the clear. Not by a long shot.
Doesn't it? Francisco's logic part 2.
You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit that turbulence. And then you waited for the victim in the lounge where you beat him to death. Then, while you were in the elevator with the victim's body stuffed into the suitcase, the plane hit that patch of turbulence and out flew the body from within the suitcase. With no way out, you hastily put the suitcase back where you had taken it from and pretended to be the discoverer of the body.
Not a bad bit of logic for something you thought of on the fly.
Just what are you insinuating?
That I will show you exactly how flawed your logic is. No matter how strong of a face you put on, not even you can hide your fears from me. I'll expose the flaws in her logic in one fell swoop.
You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit that turbulence.
Hold it!
And how do you suppose I was able to take the piggy bank out of its display case? As I recall, the case was locked.
That's easy. If the case was locked, you simply had to hit the glass. Like this.
Ow! You've shattered my heart of glass. So she wants to talk about the in-flight shop and the Mr. Ifley bank, does she?
That takes care of how you obtained the murder weapon. And then you waited for the victim in the lounge, where you beat him to death.
Hold it!
I thought there wasn't any of the victim's blood found in the lounge.
I thought you'd say that. What? Did you think I wouldn't have noticed? I think you just found a way to cleverly hide the blood spatter in the lounge. By accidentally spilling grape juice on top of it.
Oh, are you accusing me of tampering with the crime scene now?
We'll see, won't we? The forensic scientists are hard at work on that as we speak.
And? What do you propose I did after that?
Then, while you were in the elevator with the victim's body stuffed into the suitcase,
Hold it!
So I put the victim's body into the suitcase, and then? Where was I headed, Francisco?
that's pretty obvious. You were bringing it to first class where you could safely keep an eye on it.
We're talking about this thing, you know. I'd hardly call it discreet or ordinary.
Annoying brat. Well then, you were intending to leave it inside the elevator, but unfortunately for you, a wrench was thrown into your plans because the plane hit that patch of turbulence and out flew the body from within the suitcase.
Hold it!
You've experienced turbulence on a flight before.
Of course, many times. You get used to it after a while.
The patch we hit was especially rough, and I passed out briefly, but only for a second.
Good thing it was only for a sec, sir. It'd have been bad if you had really blanked out.
Yes, indeed. Unfortunately, blanking out is what got me into this whole mess in the first place.
That's enough of your idle chatter. I'm not through with you yet, Miles Edgeworth. With no way out, you hastily put the suitcase back where you had taken it from.
Hold it!
If I really were a criminal, do you really think I would be so easily caught?
Objection!
You are certainly in the middle of being caught right now.
Ah! I have to find a contradiction fast, or I won't have much of my own hide left to save.
I have to say, you're looking rather caught right now. And I'll tell you exactly what you did after that. You loitered around the lounge and pretended to be the discoverer of the body.
Hold it!
I didn't pretend to be anything. I really was the first to discover the victim's body.
I suppose that's true.
So then, you are yielding to my statements?
Don't be foolish. I still insist that you're the killer, but in that sense, you really were the first to discover the body to be dead.
No matter what I say, she seems dead set on making me out to be the killer. Her logic is reasonably sound. The large majority of it reflects the truth. But there is one point about it that is not quite right. It's this, isn't it? The very first bit. We didn't get the piggy bank before the plane hit turbulence because the piggy bank came out during the turbulence. Is that reflected here? This was taken out of the display case in the shop after the turbulence.
Objection!
So it's that. The fact that you took this piece of evidence into account in your testimony is to be commended. Your legal prowess is certainly something to be feared.
Evidence and logic. Essential tools that those who would stand in a courtroom must learn to master.
But what if there was a fake piece of evidence thrown into the mix?
A fake.
This Mr. Ifley piggy bank is just such a fake. It is not the real murder weapon.
What?
The timing of when the bank was taken from the shop is important. And it was taken after the turbulence had occurred.
But then, what about the blood in the bank? What do you make of that?
I assume it was added after the murder when the killer fabricated this weapon. Looking at it this way, the killer basically did 3 things after the turbulence. After exiting the elevator, the killer brought the suitcase to the shop and left it there. Then the killer proceeded to pick the bank up from off the floor and took it to fabricate a fake murder weapon by hitting the victim on the head. Finally, the victim's wallet was planted on my personage, in my pocket to be precise. Everything was done so that I would be framed for the murder of Mr. Acme Hicks.
You there.
Yes, ma'am?
Other than this piggy bank, was there anything else resembling a murder weapon found?
We didn't find anything in this lounge or in the shop that could be used as one, ma'am. Most of the items that could have been used were broken during the turbulence, and the remaining items all tested negative for any trace of blood.
I see. Well, Miles Edgeworth, it appears your stall tactics are at an end.
But it's possible that it's just hidden somewhere, sir.
Ah!
If the criminal had wanted to hide the weapon in a safer place, I'd think the weapon would have been hidden in the same place as the bloody cloth.
Exactly what I was thinking. Because the cloth was hidden inside that suitcase, it signals to me that the killer had not prepared a more secure place to hide the evidence. Which means that the real murder weapon is either still on the murderer's personage, or is still at the real crime scene.
Objection!
There's one more possibility.
And that would be?
That the piggy bank is in fact the real weapon.
But didn't we just...
Hold it! Let me finish. The killer took the bank out from the display case before the turbulence by opening the lock on the display case door. And it was at that time that the glass pane in the door was broken. I'd say that's a perfectly reasonable line of reasoning, wouldn't you? Let's see. So that means that the killer had the key to the display case.
Francisco. The person you're talking about.
Not so fast, I'm not finished. This person I'm talking about also committed another sin. She tricked the captain and granted you permission to conduct your investigation. Yes, it is the sin of lying. Speaking of which, I recall that you also wish to speak with her.
Yes.
Very well. Permission granted, but only if I can sit in on your interrogation. Do we understand each other?
I have no intention of interrogating her. but you are welcome to accompany me if you so wish.
Mr. Nero is in the flight attendant's room. Let's move.
Right, so it's still gumshoe lines. The presence of Franziska isn't changing anything there. But we'll talk to everybody.
Yes, sir? Way to show her who's boss, Mr. Edgeworth. Not even Miss Von Karma's whip is a match for you.
You give me too much credit. She simply didn't have all the information. To be sure, the flights will become tougher and tougher as the investigation progresses.
That's all right, Mr. Edgeworth. You got me watching your back. You got me watching your back. I'll make sure to keep on supporting you any way I can. You just say the word, sir.
Really? Then how about standing out in front and absorbing whiplashes for me?
Anything else, sir?
Mr. Nero is in the flight attendant's room. Let's move.
That blue door over there leads to the flight attendant's room, sir.
All right, let's go see what Ms. Tenero has to say for herself.
You! Hurry and solve your murder! If you do not, how am I supposed to have my cargo returned to me?
If you could please be patient just a little longer, Mr. LeBlanc.
Hurry and solve it, like a strike of thunder!
It's as fast as lightning, and believe me, if I could, I would. I've been told by Ms. Von Karma that you can now enter the flight attendant's room. Please feel free to look around. Thank you. Now to unravel Ms. Tenero's true intentions. March 12, 2:23 p.m. Flight I-3, 91st floor, flight attendant's room.
So you're the one that poked around inside this plane without the captain's permission. Deviating from the flight attendant's manual is very unbecoming, you know. What were you hoping to accomplish by doing that?
Miss Tenero.
Mr. Edgeworth, you're here too.
Could you please help us and shed some light on why you did what you did?
All right.
Notice anything? What are you doing and why are you fidgeting?
I've never been on a plane before, and I've never been in an attendant's room.
Well, even on a normal flight, one would rarely ever need to enter one.
I don't know when I'll ever get to be on a plane again, so I want to soak it all in now, sir. Let's see, a box full of crowns and a yellow suitcase, and... Ah, what a great trip!
Paging Detective Gumshoe, kindly return to the situation at hand. This door leads to the cargo hold, but I can't let you through without Ms. Von Karma's express permission. That's not a bad way to handle this situation if it was any old case, but this isn't.
So between you and Ms. Von Karma, who's better at their job?
Oh, there is no comparison to be made, Detective. None. What is all this junk inside these boxes? There's no rhyme or reason to any of it.
That's our lost and found, Mr. Edgeworth.
Gold crowns and swords and necklaces. It's like a treasure trove in here, sir.
The fact that these were left on the plane implies they were carried onto it to begin with. Something tells me it's time for iFly to send its metal detectors out for repairs. And what are inside these boxes?
Oh, those are some souvenirs I bought in Virginia.
There's so many! There's even a second box!
Well, yes, I find that folk art from around the world does great things for my creativity.
Those suitcases certainly could have done with a whole lot less of your creativity.
So these are the attendants' lockers, huh? Let's hurry up and examine them, sir.
Why must men always be so rude? Besides, who exactly gave you permission to search through the attendants' lockers?
Wait, Detective! It would be uncouth of us to look in a woman's locker without her permission.
Yeah, I guess so. Plus, I feel this murderous draft, and I can sense a whip not far behind.
Maybe we can examine them later. It's one of those suitcases designed by Miss Tenero. You can tell it's hardly ever been used by the lack of even a single scratch on it. Ooh, we can go this way. Oh, that's leaving. That's funny, because we spawned over here. But I guess they did say that was the cargo hold door.
Miles Edgeworth, isn't there something that you should be doing right now?
Of course, I should be asking Miss Tenero for her side of the story.
That's right. And how does that have anything to do with what's over there?
Nothing, really.
If you already knew that, then why did you hurry up with the investigation already?
It's pretty easy to tell who sleeps in which bunk just by looking. I am almost certain that the well-kept one up top belongs to Miss Tenero.
Ew, this bottom one is a giant mess.
You sloven, squalid scoundrel of a man. You dare to scrutinize a woman's bed and invade her privacy?
Ow!
There are some things in life best kept to yourself, Detective. There is sure to be a clue of some sort in this trash can. Detective Gumshoe, if you please.
Yes, sir. You just leave the rummaging to me.
Scruffy, how dare you go through a woman's trash without her permission? Have you no sense of honor?
Ah! I'm sorry. I'm just doing what Mr. Edgeworth told me to do.
Forgive me, Detective. What exactly is this panel for?
That's the emergency control panel for the elevator. We used it to stop the elevator on the first floor and to keep its doors open. Well, go on. Let's hear our troublesome attendant out.
In due time, I do have one thing I'd like to ask you.
Yes?
Do you plan to continue using that whip for the foreseeable future?
Of course! I've wrangled many a testimony out of people thanks to it.
Yeah, and probably a whole ton of yelps, too!
And I'm willing to bet that the majority of them came from you, Detective. Why did you lie about receiving the captain's permission like that?
Because I didn't think I would be able to get his permission.
What do you mean?
The captain. He only has ears for Cammy. I spoke with the captain a little earlier myself. He definitely seems to be rather taken with Miss Meehan. Yes, and on top of that, I had mistakenly accused Mr. Edgeworth of being the killer. I wanted to make amends.
In that case, please allow me to thank you for what you did. Thanks to you, I was able to clear myself of all charges.
Really? You were able to prove your innocence? Oh, thank goodness. Miss Tenero, is it? There's one more thing I'd like to ask you. You were in the in-flight shop just before the turbulence, weren't you? Please answer honestly. Yes, I was. And why were you there? Well,
Why the sudden hesitation? Franziska seems to have struck a nerve.
all I did was go check up on the shop like I always do. You're saying it was for work, then? Yes, I'm in charge of the shop, so I have to keep an eye on it. I don't have any reason to go there otherwise. After your visit to the shop, you paid a visit to this room, correct? Yes, I came back to freshen up and adjust my makeup. I'm sorry, but there isn't much else to tell.
Miss Tenero claims to have no reason other than duty to go to the shop. But is that all there is to it? Maybe I should ask her about that thing.
I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. I don't know how to answer you. As a professional flight attendant, I'm a failure.
She must be worn out from the long questioning session she just went through. It's funny that you say that, but then when we entered this room, the only person that didn't come in with us is her. Like, supposedly she was in being questioned, but like... Is it two different officers, maybe? Ah, I see. There's an officer out here and an officer in there. So this officer is, I guess, was questioning her earlier. Why is she a flight attendant when this looks like a sea ship? It isn't, it's an airplane. We can probably ask her about the suitcase, because she designed them. Everything else is a no. If you could please take a look at this for me, Miss Tenero.
Oh, that suitcase.
Yes, about this suitcase. You were the one who designed it, correct? and I think I figured something else out about it. This suitcase is the reason you went to the shop, isn't it? Yeah, it's a very ridiculous plane.
There's nothing you won't find out eventually, is there?
Won't you please tell me more about this suitcase?
Yes, I was interested in seeing how the suitcases I had designed were selling. I know that as a service professional I'm not supposed to care. But I really wanted to know. And I was glad to see that it was the last one there.
The last one there? No, it wasn't. So you're saying, Mr. Nero, that the suitcase in question was the last one?
Yes, they're just so popular they're practically flying off the shelves.
That's not exactly the impression I got, though one of them did fly.
The one in the shop is most definitely the last one.
Well, we're currently looking at that suitcase.
Really? Then I guess we sold all of them. Thank you very much for taking the last one.
I didn't say anything about buying it.
Then say you'll buy it.
Sorry, I can't.
But why? I think it'd go great with your complexion, Mr. Edgeworth. It really suits you. I guarantee it personally as a service professional.
Well, that is... How shall I put this, It is fucking hideous.
What?
Did you get the full run of "It's hideous, what"? Maybe that was a bit too direct. Moving on. My issue with the suitcases isn't the design, it's the number of them remaining.
Remaining?
There were 2 suitcases in the in-flight shop when I investigated it.
2. But that's impossible. I'm sure there was only 1. Looks like her story has generated quite the contradiction. When I left the shop, I'm positive there was only 1 suitcase left.
Something is amiss here. What could be the meaning of this inconsistency? By the way, Ms. Tenero, what is one of those suitcases doing here?
That's...
I thought you said there was only 1 left.
That one is, it's mine. I've used it for a very long time now.
She's used it for a long time. I think not. Mr. Nero, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't lie to me.
Excuse me?
I don't believe for even 1 second that you've used this for a very long time. What proves that this hasn't been used for nearly as long as Ms. Tenero says? I still got a tag on it.
Take that!
Tell me, Mr. Nero, is it also your habit to keep the price tag pristine on your suitcase?
What is the meaning of this? Why would you lie about a suitcase?
Despite having faith in her design sense, the sales numbers made her cry bitter tears. The truth is becoming increasingly clear to me. Mr. Nero, I think I understand. I know what you were trying to hide. Now then, this suitcase was originally in the shop. Seeing as how the price tag is still on this suitcase, one can only assume it was out on the floor for sale in the shop. And the person who bought this suitcase was you.
Take that!
Wasn't it, Mr. Nero? I hate to say this, but the suitcase that you designed, it hasn't sold very well, has it? You saw how poorly this design that you poured your heart into was selling, and were deeply hurt. That's why you wanted to make it look like it was selling by buying it yourself. Isn't that right?
Then, the reason you went to the shop and came back here was... I'm sorry. All I really have is my job. I was overjoyed when my design was chosen. I thought that maybe I had finally accomplished something.
But the suitcases didn't sell.
It's because of the design, isn't it? All because it's, as you put it, hideous.
I can't say they chose a great place in which to sell them either.
We weren't selling a single one, and they were just sitting there collecting dust. I felt so bad seeing them there, day in and day out. So I decided to buy one for every flight I worked.
You buy one every single time you work a flight?
I see. So in order to keep your resolution, you've entered bought one today as well? Yes. And here is my receipt for that purchase.
This receipt is clearly time-stamped 5:40 a.m. Helpful.
The truth is, there's still a bunch of them left unsold.
Just as Miss Tenero said, the timestamp says she bought the suitcase at 5:40 a.m. Every time you go on a flight, you spend $1,000?
They're planning to scrap the remaining ones at the end of this flight.
Miss Tenero, where are these other suitcases?
They should all be down in the cargo hold. Then the suitcase the killer used.
Could very well have come from the cargo hold.
Mr. Edgeworth, you don't think that the killer used one of my suitcases to...
Yes, I do. The killer used one of your beloved suitcases to move the victim's body.
Ah! How could they? Those suitcases were meant to be faithful partners to our passengers on their trips. That's all I ever wished for them to be.
Miss Tenero, is there any other way to get to the cargo hold other than the elevator?
The only other way is just through that door there.
And what about security?
That door has no special lock installed because just to enter this room, you need a special key card that only crew members have access to.
Which means that the culprit is someone who can enter this room, eliminating the passengers and leaving only crew members as potential suspects.
I can't believe it. Hold it!
Yes, Franziska?
Going on this wild goose chase is your disgrace to the Von Karma name.
And what do you mean by that?
The suitcase came from the cargo hold. That fact alone tells the whole story.
Yes, which is why I said the culprit must be a crew member who used their keycard.
Miles Edgeworth, you're proposing that the killer rode the elevator from the cargo hold, correct?
Yes, that's the only realistic possibility.
That other attendant, Miss Meal? I asked her earlier and she had this to say.
Franziska got information out of Miss Meal? I certainly couldn't.
In order to make the elevator go down to the cargo hold, a different keycard is required.
A different one?
Yes, and the only person who holds that particular card is you, Miss Rhoda Tenero, and only you.
Ah! What? Is this true, Miss Tenero?
Yes, I keep that keycard in my locker at all times.
Could you please show us that card right now?
Yes, hold on.
It's missing.
I don't believe it.
What's wrong?
The keycard. It's gone. Very clever. Pretending that your card was stolen when in fact you're just trying to hide it from us. You've really thought this through. Wait, it's not like that. You can tell us all about what it's like down at the station. Officer, arrest this woman.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Edgeworth. What's wrong? There's disbelief written all over your face.
Franziska, I know that you are the lead investigator on this case. However...
Hold it! Don't even think about wasting any more of my time. You know the rules as well as I do. A full commitment's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other prosecutor. Evidence speaks louder than words. Even if this isn't a courtroom, that basic tenet still applies. I intend to investigate the cargo hold now. What will you do, Miles Edgeworth?
I intend to do likewise. To be continued. A minute before stop time. That's why I kept going despite the disconnect so close to end. Because I'm like, I know this is nearly done. Oh, shit. Hang on. Fix that. There we go. Drop some save states in, but really the official save should work. And one more after it. And then close. Yeah. I gotta run. I've got places to be. Tomorrow we'll play some Final Fantasy XIV. No new patch till next week, but we've still got plenty of Reaper levels to work on, so I'll just be focusing on that again. Next week, next Saturday, we'll do the second half of this case, hopefully. Hopefully manage to get it evenly done in just 2 nights. Otherwise, fare thee well.